the June 9th regular meeting of the Garden Grove City Council. And Madam Clerk, will you call roll, please?
Councilmember Breitigam.
Here.
Councilmember Tran.
Here.
Councilmember Dovin.
Present.
Councilmember Muñetón.
Here.
Councilmember Aristegui.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Breitigam.
Here again.
And Mayor Klompenstein.
Here. We'll move into invocation and pledge of allegiance.
Oh, and Councilmember Nguyen.
Here.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scott.
I believe our invocation will be led by our Assistant City Manager, Matt West. And if I could ask Councilmember Joe Dovin to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Thank you. Please prepare yourself according to your faith. Dear Lord, as we begin tonight's meeting, may we approach our discussions with wisdom and mutual respect for one another, for the many voices and perspectives within our community, and for the responsibility entrusted to us. And may our conversations be guided by thoughtful listening and a commitment to the common good, helping us make decisions that strengthen our city and serve all who call it home. And lastly, we also express our gratitude for those who dedicate themselves each day to protecting the safety, health, and well-being of our community. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Please remove your hat and face our flag. Hand over heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please take your seat.
All right, at this time, I will turn the meeting over to Councilwoman Yesenia Muñetón for the Housing Authority.
I will call for the Housing Authority special meeting to order. Will the clerk please take roll?
Commissioner Aristegui.
Here.
Commissioner Breitigam.
Here.
Commissioner Dovin.
Present.
Commissioner Klompenstein.
Here.
Commissioner Philip Nguyen.
Here.
Vice Chair Tran.
Here.
And Chair Muñetón.
Here.
And both Commissioners Beckles and Tan Nguyen are absent.
We will now open oral communication. Madam Clerk, have we received any speaker cards for Housing Authority?
Chair Muñetón, we have not received any speaker cards for the Housing Authority.
We will now close oral communication and move on to items of consideration. Item number 1.
Item number 1 this evening is adoption of a resolution amending fiscal year 2026-27 Housing Authority budget. And our Finance Director, Patricia Song, is here to provide the report.
Madam Secretary, good evening. Madam Secretary, could you put the slides up on the screen, please? Thank you. Good evening, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, and Commissioners. The item before you tonight is a resolution amending the Garden Grove Housing Authority's fiscal year 26-27 budget. The Housing Authority administers the Section 8 Housing Choice Voucher Program and other housing assistance programs funded by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, or HUD. Because the authority's funding allocations are determined annually by HUD, budget adjustments are periodically necessary to align the spending plan with the most current funding information and program requirements. The authority's biannual budget was adopted last June. Since that time, staff has received updated funding allocations and completed comprehensive review of anticipated program expenditures for fiscal year 26-27. Based on that review, staff is recommending amendments totaling $792,000, bringing the authority's amended fiscal year 26-27 budget to $52.3 million. The largest component of the amendment is approximately $544,000 in administrative overhead costs allocated through the newly implemented cost allocation plan. The plan was developed in accordance with federal cost allocation requirements. It ensures that central service costs such as finance, human resources, information technology, and administrative support are allocated equitably to the programs that benefited from the support. The proposed amended budget remains fully supported by available funding resources and is consistent with the authority's mission of providing quality housing assistance programs to the Garden Grove residents. Accordingly, staff recommends that the Housing Authority adopt the resolution approving fiscal year 26-27 amended budget. This concludes my report, and I will be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Are there any questions from our commissioners?
I'll second.
City Clerk, can you please take a roll call?
I'm having technical issues, if we could.
We'll do a roll call vote
Same,
for this.
yeah.
Oral vote.
For the- Commissioner DeStegi,
Yes.
Commissioner Brigham,
Yes.
Commissioner Dovin, Commissioner Klumpenstein,
Yes.
Commissioner Philip Wynn,
Yes.
Vice Chair Tran,
Yes.
and Chair Muñoz.
Yes.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
Are there any matters from commissioners or the director? We will adjourn the Housing Authority meeting and turn back to the City Council.
Thank you, Councilman. All right. Before we go into presentation 1, I'd like to pull consent item number 5, and I'll call for a motion on that.
Second.
Second.
Okay, call for the vote, please, on that.
We're still having technical.
Mm-hmm.
Madam Mayor, we're going to go ahead and do a roll call vote. Mayor Klumpenstein,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brigham,
Yes.
Councilmember Nguyen,
Yes.
Councilmember Tran,
Yes.
Councilmember Dovin,
Aye.
Councilmember Muñoz,
Yes.
and Councilmember DeStegi.
Yes.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
Thank you. And this takes us right into the reason for that is item number 1 under presentations.
This evening, item number 1 is a community spotlight in recognition of Damian Lorton and Jennifer Stewart for being named the 2026 Garden Grove Chamber of Commerce Man and Woman of the Year. And Assistant City Manager Matt West will read that community spotlight.
Thank you. This evening, the Garden Grove City Council is honored to recognize 2 exceptional community members whose meaningful work in Garden Grove earned them the prestigious title of 2026 Man and Woman of the Year from the Garden Grove Chamber of Commerce. I'd like to invite up Damian Lorton and Jennifer Stewart at this time. Come on up. Every year, the Garden Grove Chamber of Commerce selects 2 dedicated service-oriented individuals who demonstrate community pride through volunteerism and civic involvement. And it is the city's privilege to honor these outstanding individuals. We will begin with the 2026 Man of the Year, Damian Lorton. Damian is an acclaimed actor, singer, director, and producer, and mentor. In 2024, he co-founded One More Productions to provide high-quality, affordable theater productions. Under his leadership, the organization has raised more than $300,000 for Orange County nonprofit organizations. Damian's dedication to the arts and the community has earned him numerous accolades, including the LA Times Man of the Year, recognition as one of the 101 most influential people by the Daily Pilot, the Paul Harris Fellow Award, the St. James Family Honors Award, and many others. Currently, Damian serves as president of the Garden Grove Downtown Business Association, is an active member of the Benevolent and Protective Order of Elks. Next, we have our 2026 Woman of the Year, Jennifer Stewart. Excuse me. As owner of Azteca Restaurant on Main Street, Jennifer has long been a dedicated community leader and advocate for downtown Garden Grove. She served 7 years on the Garden Grove Downtown Business Association Board, including as president and vice president, and currently serves as chair of the city's Downtown Commission. Jennifer has also contributed to Garden Grove's artistic and cultural identity through her creation of the Jack Wallen bust at Atlantis Place Center and the vibrant Strawberry Fest sculpture in front of Fire Station 84, both of which celebrate the city's rich history and community spirit. She's currently working on another monument, a jungle-themed bronze wall that will be installed at the entrance to Woodbury Park following the park's renovation. At this time, the mayor and city council would like to present Damian Lorton and Jennifer Stewart with a resolution honoring their selection as the 2026 Garden Grove Man and Woman of the Year. Congratulations.
Oh my gosh.
we're both so honored to be acknowledged by this. Being part of a community like this is something great, and following your leadership and how you've been, it allows Jennifer and I to stand for not only our downtown Main Street, but for our community itself. And we thank you, and we're just so honored and grateful to be recognized. It really is a joy, and it really is a great gift. So thank you for taking that moment to acknowledge us.
Everything that he said, plus I want to say that I could not be more pleased and more honored to be standing next to this gentleman right here.
Thank you.
So, thank you.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you all so much. What an honor.
Congratulations to you both. All right, before we move into oral communications, I'm going to pull agenda item 21.
This evening, item 21 is adoption of a resolution certifying the supplemental environmental impact report, adopting a supplemental mitigation monitoring and reporting program, adopting findings of fact, including a statement of overriding considerations, adoption of a resolution approving modifications to the conditions of approval for site plan SP-107-2022, and introduction and first reading of an ordinance reapproving planned unit development number PUD 141-01A. And we have our senior planner, Preet, who will introduce the item.
Good evening, City Council. Pursuant to a stipulated writ of mandate issued by the Superior Court of Orange County, the City Council is considering a recommendation to certify a supplemental environmental impact report, or SEIR, adopt a supplemental mitigation monitoring and reporting program, or supplemental MMRP, and adopt findings of fact, including a statement of overriding considerations, approve revisions to the conditions of approval for site plan number SP-107-2022, and reapprove plan unit development number PUD-141-01A with modifications limited to the plan unit development provisions and development and performance standards to incorporate the mitigation measures and project design features identified in the SEIR for the previously approved Site B2 hotel project. The project site is approximately 3.7 acres, commonly known as Site B2, located on the northwest corner of Harbor Boulevard and Twin Tree Avenue. The site also encompasses the vacated Thackeray Drive and a vacated public alley. The subject site has a general plan land use designation of International West Mixed Use and is located within planned unit development number PUD 141-01A. In 2022, the applicant requested approval to develop the subject resort hotel. The resort would feature a 23-story, 500-room hotel with a variety of related amenities, including a pool, water slides, ballrooms, theater, and restaurants. A 5-level parking garage with 528 parking spaces would also be provided. The project design will not change as part of the request tonight. In July 2022, the Planning Commission recommended that the City Council approve the project entitlements, including an initial study mitigated negative declaration, the PUD sub-area, and the site plan. Later that month, Planning Commission's actions were appealed by Unite Here Local 11 to City Council. In August 2022, the City Council denied the appeal, approved the entitlements, and conducted the first reading of the PUD ordinance. The second reading of the ordinance was held in September 2022. A lawsuit was filed in the Superior Court later in 2022. Prior to trial, all parties reached a settlement and agreed to stipulate a writ of mandate that was issued by the court in February 2024. The writ left the city's 2022 approvals in place, but requires the city to prepare a focused analysis of the project's vehicle miles traveled and greenhouse gas impacts, assess whether modifications are needed to the 2022 approvals, including mitigation measures and conditions of approval in light of that analysis, and approve with modifications, or deny the PUD at a City Council meeting. To comply with the writ, the city has prepared a supplemental EIR, providing a focused review of the project's vehicle miles traveled and greenhouse gas impacts. The SEIR was circulated for a 45-day public comment period from September 22 to November 6, 2025. During that period, 3 comment letters were received. Responses to those comments were prepared and included in the final SEIR. In a few moments, we also have the environmental consultant here who will provide more information on the SEIR. On May 7th, 2026, the Planning Commission recommended that the City Council certify the SEIR, reapprove the PUD, and approve the revisions to the conditions of approval for the previously approved site plan. The PUD is being returned to the City Council pursuant to the writ after considering the focus vehicle miles traveled and greenhouse gas analysis in the SEIR. The modifications recommended for City Council consideration are limited to revisions to the PUD development provisions and development and performance standards to incorporate the mitigation measures and project design features identified in the SEIR. No other changes to the PUD are proposed. The narrow scope of the current site plan action is to update the conditions of approval to incorporate the mitigation measures identified in the SEIR and other administrative updates. Once again, the approved project design, including the building footprint, height, layout, parking configuration, and architecture, is not changing. At this moment, I would now like to turn it over to Rachel Strulia of Dudek, the environmental consultant for the project, to give an overview of the SEIR.
Thank you very much. Again, my name is Rachel Strulia. I'm with the environmental consulting firm Dudek, and we've been assisting the city with preparation of this supplemental EIR. I'm going to tell you that the supplemental EIR was written to comply with the writ of mandate and analyze greenhouse gas emissions and vehicle miles traveled in depth. I'm going to provide a high-level overview of these topics. Greenhouse gases are gases that trap heat in the atmosphere. The most common GHG is carbon dioxide, which is released when fossil fuels are burned for energy and transportation. Not all GHGs function in the same way, so they are measured in terms of metric ton equivalents of carbon dioxide. The city was required to study how many GHG emissions the project would generate if it were built and operated, and whether the project would conflict with the applicable plans, policies, or regulations that reduce GHG emissions. A number of GHG emissions were created by the project during both construction and operation. Industry standard models were used, California Emissions Estimator model or CALIMOD. The modeling also applied project-specific data when available and appropriate. The project's GHG emissions were compared to a threshold of significance provided by the South Coast Air Quality Management District of 1,400 metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalent per year. This is what it looked like. So construction emissions totaled 3,609 metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalent per year. Operational GHG emissions were 8,004 metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalent per year. And when combining the operational GHG emissions and the amortized construction emissions, the total was 8,124 metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalent per year, which exceeds the 1,400 metric tons threshold. So the GHG impacts were significant and mitigation was required. And then the potential conflict with plans, policies, and regulations impact was less than significant with the application of mitigation. A total of 15 mitigation measures were required, and 10 project design features were incorporated into the project, which focused on energy efficiency, renewable energy, water conservation, and carbon offset credits. The findings were still that there was a significant and unavoidable impact, as well as a significant and unavoidable cumulative impact. Moving to vehicle miles traveled, the second issue that was studied in depth. Previously, transportation impacts were measured by how much congestion or delay a project would cause. But in 2020, the state replaced that standard with vehicle miles traveled. VMT measures how much driving a project would generate, in this case by the hotel guests and the employees. The project's potential VMT impacts were calculated using industry standard models. Project-specific data was applied where it was available and appropriate, and the goal was to determine if the project would cause more VMT than the county average. The findings were that the project would result in a less than significant impact with project-generated VMT as measured by employees and guests. When measured by employees only, the impacts were significant. So 2 mitigation measures were applied to reduce the impacts to less than significant, and these focused on commute reduction measures and end-of-trip bicycle facilities. Yet, even with the inclusion of all the mitigation in the supplemental EIR, the project will still have a significant and unavoidable impact. When there is a significant and unavoidable impact, the city must adopt a statement of overriding considerations in order to approve the project. A statement of overriding considerations balances the project's benefits against its environmental risks. These benefits may include economic, legal, social, or technological benefits. A statement of override has been prepared for this project and is included in the project's findings. Project benefits include tax revenue, job creation, and support for the city's tourism and hospitality economy. The project transforms a long vacant infill site into a resort hotel destination that advances the city's long-term vision for the International West Corridor. And with that, I want to let you know that our team is here to answer any specific questions you may have, and we'd be happy to do so. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Rachel. I would now like to turn it over to Assistant City Manager Ursula Luna Reynoso to give additional background on the project.
Thank you. I'm going to focus my presentation on a portion of the project timeline and certain policy objectives achieved by the project. It's important to acknowledge that we are aware that there are concerns relative to affordable housing, and that there are, we've received comments throughout this process about this site should be for affordable housing. So I'm going to start by acknowledging that we do not disagree with the importance of housing. I want to share a bit of history related to this site that demonstrates the city's commitment to housing, and in particular to affordable housing at this site. The site, which we refer to as B2, has been the subject of interest since 2001. The former redevelopment agency entered into an agreement with the developer, which envisioned the construction of 2 hotels. One was the Sheraton, which was completed in 2008 as a 288-room hotel. The former redevelopment agency continued to assemble property for a larger, more grandiose project, because the second hotel that was envisioned was a limited service, approximately 200-room hotel. Different land uses for hotels and other tourist-serving uses were explored as part of this more grandiose project. Tamerlane Apartments, directly adjacent to the site, was incorporated into the redevelopment project area in 2002. Over the years, 3 different development scenarios were discussed. The first being a concept that was called Small B2, very creative, I know, which was the original plan, the Marriott plus a second limited service hotel consisting of approximately 200 rooms. The second concept was called Large B2, which was a 10-acre site envisioning a more intense development consisting of all visitor-serving uses, including Tamerlane Apartments is how we got to the 10 acres. The third concept, the project that was described earlier by Preet, is the current B2 project consisting of 3.72 acres. The remaining 6 acres was comprised largely by the Tamerlane Apartment project, which is was a residential project, much of it affordable, with the majority of restrictive covenants set to expire, meaning the units would no longer be affordable. When the city made the decision to enter into an agreement with an affordable housing developer to preserve and rehabilitate the 78 units that comprised Tamerlane Apartments as affordable units, it made a direct policy decision to prioritize affordable housing over hospitality and other visitor-serving uses. Between the former redevelopment agency, the Housing Authority, and various funding sources, approximately $15 million was contributed to the preservation and substantial rehabilitation of these units. Construction was recently completed, and the rescheduled ribbon cutting is set for June 23rd. Those units are now occupied by low-income households. The rehabilitated project is called Orchard Grove and will remain affordable for 55 years thanks to the new covenants required as part of the substantial rehabilitation project. I thought it was important to highlight the city's commitment to affordable housing and that the housing was prioritized and completed first. I again want to acknowledge the importance of housing. We do need more housing, and Garden Grove is actively planning for more housing. In fact, we are planning for over 19,000 units due to our Regional Housing Needs Assessment, or RHNA, number which was established by the Southern California Association of Governments, or SCAG. This is one of the largest requirements in the county. Of important note, the remaining 3.72 acres is not identified as a housing opportunity site in our housing element. I now want to move over to the balance of land uses. It is important for cities to have a balance of land uses. Residential uses put a high demand on city services, because cities have to supply public safety, maintain streets and infrastructure, provide parks and recreational services for those residents. While residential uses are a drain on city resources, non-residential uses generate revenue. As a point of example, the cities of commerce and industry consistently have a surplus of revenue because they have very low residential costs and a lot of non-residential uses. Tax revenue becomes very important for cities to maintain their services to their constituents. Transit occupancy tax, or TOT, is of vital interest to cities because we keep 100% of this tax, unlike sales tax and property tax, where we only receive a small percentage. TOT is generated by hotel uses. Cities are interested in revenue, not because we are greedy. Those tax revenues are used to pay for public services. Education is largely paid for via property taxes. Public safety, infrastructure, and parks are paid via property tax, sales tax, and, as importantly mentioned, TOT. The city reinvests this revenue back into the community for the benefits of our residents. At the risk of being redundant, hotels and the TOT revenue they generate is of vital interest to cities, and it's not for greed, but to reinvest back into the community to pay for public services, which directly impacts quality of life for our residents. Workforce development is another objective achieved by this project. Job creation is of vital importance for the local economy. This project will provide a number of new jobs. It will create temporary construction jobs. It will provide permanent service jobs. The disposition and the development agreement, or the DDA, between the city and the developer requires a project labor agreement with the local building trade council. This inclusion in the DDA demonstrates a manifestation of another policy objective of the city council related to workforce development for the construction industry and a commitment to local hire. In summary, this project, if completed, will achieve a number of policy objectives that are of eminent importance to the city. Thank you.
Staff would also like to acknowledge the written comments that have been received after the conclusion of the public comment period on the draft SEIR. These comments include a letter from the Channel Law Group on behalf of Unite Here Local 11 dated May 7, 2026 that was submitted just a couple hours before the Planning Commission meeting. Although not required by CEQA, the city has prepared a response letter for that May 7th letter, which has been provided to the council earlier this afternoon as supplemental information. That supplemental information was also included on the city's agenda website. With that said, staff recommends that the city council take the following actions: conduct a public hearing, certify the SEIR, adopt the supplemental MMRP, and adopt findings of fact, including a statement of overriding considerations. Approve revisions to the conditions of approval for site plan number SP-107-2022, contingent upon the city council's action on the PUD. And reapprove PUD-141-01A with modifications limited to the PUD provisions and development and performance standards to incorporate the mitigation measures and project design features identified in the SEIR. This concludes staff's report, and we are all available for questions.
Thank you very much, all of you, for the presentation this evening. Colleagues, before I open the public hearing, are there any questions of staff? Question?
Well, not really question, but it's more about statement or notes. So thank you so much for presenting. Before coming here, I received so many emails about the affordable housing. And so I'm so glad that you address that. Not just that, but you also go further on about the tax, the workforce, and the land use. I listened to every single word. I'm so glad that you address all that. So I hope for the resident that asking about affordable housing and all those, they listen to your report and be able to address some of the things that they have the concern. Great job. That was it. Thank you.
Any other questions?
How did the Planning Commission vote on this?
They voted 5-0 in favor of the project with 2 plan commissioners absent.
I can't pull up a response to the May 7 letter. Is it on our agenda, or do you have a printout or an email? Are you pulling it up here? So this is a letter drafted by Dudek, right?
Correct. So this is the response letter that the city has prepared, or Dudek prepared on behalf of the city, in response to that letter from May 7th.
It's not scrolling on my screen. Can you scroll it down to this pages?
Which page would you like? me
Keep going to page 2.
Page 2.
3, 4, 5. How many pages on here?
Total of 53 pages.
So it's a pretty long document. So I want to alert the public that it is on our website, correct?
It is, yes.
It's accessible to the public. Is the May 7 letter from Channel Law Group, is that also on our website?
That was, yes, included in the original agenda packet.
Right.
Yeah.
So, since we have Dudek's representative, I'd like to ask her a question.
Yes.
The letter from Channel Law Group, May 7, is significantly shorter than yours, which is, what do we say, 50-something pages? There's quick, short question of mine is the main point that Channel raised was the final SEIR does not satisfy the stipulated writ. And it looks like that your letter in response alleged that it is satisfied.
That's correct.
And you've laid out the arguments in your letter, and you believe that you've significantly or substantially addressed the issue raised by Channel, that you believe that the final SEIR does satisfy the stipulated writ. Is that
That's
correct? Okay. So do you think there will be challenges to your position as far as it concerned the final SEIR?
It's possible.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. So you've done your best to answer them, but
Yes.
you cannot anticipate future litigation which may continue at this point. You don't know.
That's correct. I'm a CEQA consultant, not an attorney.
Thank you. I'm satisfied.
Okay, thank you.
For Omar, are we satisfied that Dudek responded, which our staff has also recommended this project to move forward, which our planning commissioners have voted up? Are you satisfied that Dudek's answer to Channel's raising those legal issues from the city's point of view, have we addressed it properly?
Yes, Councilmember Dovin, if we had identified any issues, we would, address them before we even agendize it for Planning Commission and subsequently for City Council.
So, are you satisfied that the challenge or the allegations that the final SEIR does not satisfy the stipulated writ? Where do you come down?
We're taking it back to court. So after the City Council takes final action, we have to go back to court on a return to the writ, and we will present it to the judge and indicate we have satisfied the requirements of the judgment.
Then we still have to wait for a ruling, is that correct?
That's correct.
So the ruling may be in favor if we vote it up, but it can also go against us.
We have responded to all the comments from the original original firms that had challenged the approvals, and we feel comfortable that, you know, we have sufficient information to present it to the court, and the court should rule in our favor. But, you know, we can't tell you 100% because it's not in our hands. But we have done everything. We have done everything we can to satisfy the requirements of the writ and also the requirements of the California Environmental Quality Act.
So that would be our city attorney's law firm who's going to present that case to the court, not DUDAC, correct?
Correct.
All right, thank you. I'm satisfied with the answers, but I want to hear what the public needs to say before I vote tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Council members, any other questions before I open the public hearing? Yes.
Yeah, Councilmember Dovin, I actually really appreciate your line of questioning. I always try to break things down as simple as possible for folks because not a lot of people are very familiar with the intricacies of legalese. Councilmember Dovin is an attorney. I worked in law for almost 10 years. And so for us reading through something and seeing that we have a writ of mandate from the court, I think we kind of can understand it to a different degree than maybe the layman. But essentially we're here because we have to fulfill this step in this process because this is what a judge mandated us to do. So we're going through all of these steps to make sure that we're fulfilling our end of this writ of mandate. My question with regards to some of the land use, you mentioned that this remaining 3.2, it's not currently zoned for housing.
That is correct. It's currently zoned for hotel use. The hotel with incidental restaurants and banquet type thing, that's what it's currently zoned for. It's not zoned for housing.
And how long has it been zoned this way?
So that zoning was in place with the 2022 approvals. Prior to that, the zoning referred back to planned unit development from 2001, which also was intended for hotel type uses and not housing.
Okay. So we also mentioned something you mentioned in your presentation, that the scope of what we're doing is very narrow. For the layman, what that means is that we're not voting on the entirety of this agreement, of the agreement to build this hotel or not. We're looking at very specific parts of what is being presented to us, the specific environmental aspect that we went to court and we were mandated by the judge to look over. So those are the specific things that are being discussed, right? It was the council in 2022 or 2023, I believe, that 22 that initially voted on this.
Correct, yes.
Okay. So we're just looking at these two specific, discrete aspects at this point in time. How many other steps in this process? And I think, Omar, you mentioned a bit, we have to go back to court and do all the things, but how many other aspects need to take place before anyone even breaks ground on a project like this?
So there are a handful of other entitlements that they have deferred to a later date. So assuming that it goes through the court and the judge agrees and everything's approved at that point, they do need to do a parcel map as well to consolidate the properties. They need to get conditional use permits for some of the restaurants and different uses on the site. So some of that's being deferred for a little bit later. And then they're still looking at building permit issuance and then getting into construction, grading permits and that sort of thing.
So that's a substantially longer process. Am I correct?
It could take, parcel maps could take 2 years, and then building permits, getting that issued could take a while. It's a pretty big project, so the review could be lengthy.
Omar, my next question is to you. How in your legal expertise guesstimation, I know we never really know because the courts, they can be fun sometimes, but what is the time frame, do you believe, that we would be able to get any response from the court as to this particular aspect of this project?
So this one I'm going to punt to my partner, Risha Hager, who is here with us, and she litigates CEQA cases. I don't, so.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. So the question you've asked is a very practical question, but it's difficult to give a response. The time frame for a court to litigate a writ matter in Orange County, probably about a year, could be faster, could be a little bit slower. It depends on how long it takes to prepare the administrative record.
Thank you so much for providing that clarification. Yes, the courts can take a while, especially if the dockets are full. Thank you so much for that. My other question, Ursula, I think you'll be able to answer this question. Do we have any other projects in the area that incorporate any part of affordable housing? You mentioned Tamerlane. We've had the opportunity to visit them and see that development, but are there any other opportunities in that area that are active, that we're actively looking at?
Well, the majority of affordable housing right now is being done through density bonus projects. So we're receiving almost every project is seeming to come through with a density bonus application. And so those are small sprinkled affordable housing projects that will be built as part of, mostly market rate housing projects. The city we have some restricted funds for affordable housing, and so we're always looking for opportunities to invest and leverage that. And we will be issuing a request for proposals soon for that. When we don't have site control, it's harder to anticipate when those will come through, because those partners need to get site control in order to pursue a project.
Thank you, Ursula.
All right. Yes.
So today we confirm that the 3.72 acre are not for affordable housing.
That is
so
correct.
That's answer a lot from my constituents' question, because they are asking why it's a hotel. But anyway, that answer it, so I'm not going to question about that anymore. I'd like to talk about the tax revenue that you mentioned, the TOT, transition occupancy tax. Is there a study or a research or anything that can estimate how much tax revenue that we can generate from this project?
There is a report that was done when the project was originally approved. That it was a required report that would estimate the tax revenue. I have not dusted that off recently. Monica, Greg has the numbers. He can answer that.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of council. So we did have a AB 562 report redone for this project, and it does have significant revenues toward the city, including new TOT. So over a 30-year period, $236 million would be generated in TOT, in which $166 million will go directly to the city of Garden Grove. In addition, $62 million in sales tax revenue, and also 7.8 in property tax. So this is a significant economic generator of revenue.
Is that yearly or?
This is over 30 years.
30
Yes.
years. Okay. Can you repeat that number again for me, please?
Which one? So the first one is $236 million total 30-year revenue,
Mm-hmm.
and then $166 million to the city of Garden Grove over 30 years.
Thank you.
Yes.
I might as well chime in. Yeah, we got inundated with a lot of emails with a lot of folks concerned of the housing component. And, I think it's been said a couple times, this isn't really zoned for that. Years ago, and I mean a few decades now, the city went down the road of putting in the hotels, and they zoned that area for hotels. And I can remember at the time, a lot of us in the community were against it. I was one of them. I was sitting there yelling about it. We don't want this in our city. I was wrong. And I'll tell you right now, I was wrong. Those hotels have saved our bacon more than once. When other cities are going bankrupt, we had a big Orange County bankruptcy where almost every city went bankrupt except Garden Grove, largely due because of those hotels we put in. So I think it's really, I don't think people realize the amount of things that we have going good because of the TOT that's generated from those hotels. So with that being said, I am happy, and I guess this is more of a statement that we're going down that road, but I'm also happy that we are also exploring affordable housing opportunities as well. So I just want to make that, it's really important that people realize, just because we're putting up the hotel there doesn't mean we're not also, we've already had to zone for 19,000 low-income housing in our city, and I think it was mentioned it was one of the largest asks of any city. We had to go through that. So anyway, thanks staff for a solid report.
All right, with that, we are going to go ahead and open the public hearing. And as we move to open the floor for comments, we ask that you keep your comments respectful and within a 2-minute time limit. Any person making impertinent, slanderous, or profane remarks, or who becomes boisterous when addressing the council, will be called to order. If the conduct continues, you'll be barred from addressing the council any further and removed from the meeting. City Clerk, are there any speaker cards for the public hearing item this evening?
Madam Mayor, we do. We'll begin with Randy Waymore. Following Randy, we do have Andrew Gonzalez and then Leonard. First speaker, Randy.
Oh, this is the first. I thought I was going to be up at 1:30 tonight. Good evening, Mayor, council members. Good seeing you here again for this project. This here, the city needs this. It's win-win for the city. Look at everything that's going on around it. It's either you evolve or you die. This is going to bring revenue to the city. It's going to bring jobs. This construction that's going to happen, it's much needed for our industry right now. It helps apprentices in this area, gives them a path for a career. They're not going to be working in LA. They're going to be working locally. They're going to help build something that their family gets to enjoy along with the people coming in to visit the city. So, it's one of them things. People are going to be coming in from all over the country for Disneyland. Well, they might decide to stay at either Nickelodeon or Great Wolf. Chances are they're going to be staying at Nickelodeon because of the price. So, let's get this project approved. Let's get this built so I'm not 75 years old taking my grandchildren to this thing when it finally opens up. Let's get this built, start getting this going for the city.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Andrew Gonzalez.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and staff. My name is Andrew Gonzalez with Los Angeles and Orange County's Building and Construction Trades Council, representing 14 trades, 48 local unions, and 160,000 women in the union construction trades. And I think it's been said that the city depends on revenue from projects like this for more than just city services like police and fire and public safety, but for also your infrastructure projects as well, which our members gladly do and do very well at. I mean, the Civic Center project just right here is a prime example of the work that we do here, but this could also be approved, done with private projects as well. To maximize the proximity to Disneyland, you need to build world-class resorts such as this one. But this project will do something else. It will provide for local jobs. As agreed to in the development agreement for a project labor agreement on this thing, you're going to provide for opportunities for local jobs with union construction workers here. It'll provide prevailing wages, world-class benefits, and secure retirements. This project labor agreement also ensures that the jobs go to local residents, providing for apprenticeship opportunities and pre-apprenticeship opportunities for people just here in Garden Grove and beyond. But at this point, that agreement has not yet been reached. We are still here today asking the council to support the acceptance of the EIR and staff's recommendation to allow us time to make those negotiations mutually beneficial for both the city, the workers, and the developer. But we're also asking the council and staff hold the developer accountable to all aspects of the DDA to include the required project labor agreement with Los Angeles and Orange County Building and Construction Trades Council. With still then asking the council to accept the EIR and allowing the Trades Council to negotiate a development in good faith of the project as required by the DDA. We ask you to approve the project tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next speaker, Leonard.
Good evening, council, staff. My name is Leonard De La Rosa. I'm a representative with the Western States Regional Council of Carpenters. I represent men and women that live in this community And more importantly, I want to talk about this project, Site B2, which is a community wealth project. What I mean by community wealth is, obviously my previous speakers talked about apprenticeship, but community wealth is an opportunity to be able to build a project with good livable wages, good benefits for the members and their families. And as my brothers and sisters back here on the trades, we have all stood shoulder to shoulder in communication with this developer. When a developer comes into town and makes that kind of commitment, that creates community wealth. Projects such as this, if you guys move forward in a passing, creates not only community wealth for the city of Garden Grove, but local and neighboring cities, allowing men and women to be able to work for a good wage, good pension, good annuity, and good health there. It creates a healthy family lifestyle in our area. More importantly, I stand behind labor, not just the carpenters, but my brothers and sisters behind me with the crafts that are eager to build this. So the decision you make today, I urge you, please approve this project and let us get to work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next three speakers will be Tony Velasquez, Roland Gutierrez, and Jamie Hall. Tony Velasquez.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, City Council. My name is Antonio Velasquez. I've been a 36-year resident of Garden Grove. Give you a little bit of background about myself and my family. Me, my brother, my sister, we all went to Warren Elementary, then to Walton, graduated from Santiago. I had a niece and my nephew who both went to Warren, Walton, and then my nephew went to Peters because he was autistic, and then he went to Rancho where my niece and him both graduated. My nephew then went to the ATP program at Bolsa Grande. And my niece is actually working at Gilbert Elementary with TK and the special ed, just kind of give you a background. As for myself, I'm a representative with the Western States Regional Council of Carpenters. This project is a vital investment for our workforce and for the long-term prosperity of Garden Grove. It provides an immediate boost to our local skilled tradespeople. This development represents years of steady work for our Garden Grove residents. This high-quality jobs allows our members to build in their own community and provide the financial stability needed to support their families. More importantly, we must emphasize the massive economic impact this resort will have on the city's future as Garden Grove navigates through budget deficits. This project offers a sustainable solution. An estimated $5.5 million in annual tax revenue will provide reliable long-term funding source for essential services like public safety, road repairs, and community parks. After 4 years of long delays, it is time to capture this opportunity. This project transforms an underutilized site into a major economic engine that will benefit every resident of this city. On behalf of the Western States Regional Council of Carpenters, we urge the Planning Commission to approve this project tonight. And let's move forward. Let's put our local trades to work, and let's secure a stronger financial future for Garden Grove and its residents. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next we have Roland Gutierrez.
Good evening. My name is Jamie Hall. I'm a land use and environmental attorney with Channel Law Group. I'm here representing Unite Here Local 11. As an initial matter, I want to correct a misstatement. The project site is not zoned exclusively for hotel uses. In fact, the project is part of the International West Focused Area, which allows for mixed uses, which of course includes residential uses. Now, I also want to note that we submitted another objection letter today, which details why the final SER before you is fundamentally inadequate and violates CEQA. First, the SEIR's project description is legally deficient because it actively obscures the project's true greenhouse gas emissions. The city admits it removed the 24,980 square foot water park from the building area calculations, reasoning that it doesn't technically constitute building floor area, but water parks generate GHG emissions regardless of building codes. Second, the city relies on a vague and unenforceable project design feature, PDF 28, to pretend that traffic from day visitors won't exist. Third, the SEIR's mitigation measures are actively misleading and unenforceable. Take mitigation measure GHG 10, which addresses water conservation. It requires a water use monitoring plan for only the first 12 months after occupancy. But this project has an assumed 30-year occupational life, and the city's only monitoring water use for a single year. And finally, the city failed to provide good faith, reasoned responses to our previous comments. Instead of addressing the issues, the city swept serious criticisms under the rug, and the SEIR omits feasible mitigation to reduce emissions from the water park's outdoor energy use, and it fails to mandate enforceable commute trip reduction programs for employees and guests. The document before you does not provide the transparent, factual analysis that CEQA demands. We ask that you uphold the law, deny the project approvals tonight, and require a revised SEIR that tells the public the truth about the project's environmental impacts. Thank you.
Roland Gutierrez.
Good evening. My name is Roland Gutierrez. I'm a 20-year member of Sprinkler Fitters UA Local 709. I am the current business representative for that local. I'm here to express our support for the staff recommendation and accept the EIR for the Nickelodeon project. This project will provide valuable training opportunities for local apprentices in the pipe trades and building construction trades. Benefiting Garden Grove residents, the development agreement between the city and the developer is a crucial component for this initiative. Our apprenticeship programs offer promising career paths, competitive wages, and comprehensive benefits. I benefited from this comprehensive package because I started as a first-year apprentice 20 years ago. A sense of fulfillment can be derived from a hard day's work using your hands and supporting your local community. There are opportunities to build, live, and work in the city of Garden Grove are essential for the growth and prosperity of the city, and I urge you to continue supporting these careers by advocating for this project. Thank you very much.
Next three speakers will be Nathan Delgadillo, Jake Bowman, and Enai Bryce. So our next speaker is Nathan Delgadillo.
Good evening, Mayor Klopfenstein and members of the City Council. My name is Nathan Delgadillo, and I am a member of Unite Here Local 11. I have lived in Garden Grove for 10 years, and I pay $2,800 a month in rent. The housing crisis in Garden Grove is real, and we need to act with urgency. Between 2019 and 2024, asking rents increased nearly 30% in Orange County. A person must earn over $40 an hour to afford a modest one-bedroom apartment in Garden Grove, at least $48 an hour for a two-bedroom. According to the city's own housing element, 44% of Garden Grove households are housing burdened. For renters, that number is 58.5%. For low-income households, it is 63.7%. Since 2021, only 118 units affordable to low and moderate income households have been permitted in the city. The environmental document for this project confirms that Garden Grove has met just over 1% of its affordable housing obligations for this decade. The need for additional hotels is far less urgent than the pressing need for housing. The developer, Kamsung Company, has built housing in Garden Grove before. Their Brookhurst Place development includes homes, parks, and a hotel. A better project is possible. Please reject this PUD and come back with something that serves our community. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. My name is Jake, and I am a member of Unite Here Local 11. I am asking you to vote down this planned unit development and its environmental review. I disagree with the alternatives analysis. This project should include a housing component. As the environmental document itself acknowledges, houses on this site would produce lower greenhouse gas and vehicle miles traveled impacts. And Garden Grove, as has just been spoken before, has met just over 1% of its affordable housing obligations for 2021 to 2029. As our attorney also mentioned, this project is zoned International West according to the city's own SEIR. And we, of course, recognize the work on Tamerlane, but that doesn't mean that we can't have residential uses here. We have a housing crisis. It's what we desperately need, and we need creativity in solutions. My brothers and sisters back in the very back there are very skilled, and they can build a lot of different things. It doesn't have to be this hotel. And you need to make better decisions and listen to the people that are actually emailing you instead of just making up whatever it is that you think that you think would be better for this place. Build houses. Make it to where people can actually live here. Not just create jobs here, but people can actually live here. You're pricing people out of this city. Doesn't matter if there's 100,000 jobs in this area if people can't live in the city anymore. Do better. Thank you.
Next speaker, Ine Bryce.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council, City Council. My name is Inai Bryce. I'm a member of Unite Here Local 11. Public land is a very precious resource, and I am particularly concerned of how the decision is being made. As part of the environmental review, the city is required to study alternatives. We, the community, have asked you to include a housing component, some explicitly allowed by the International West Mixed Use zoning on this site, which permits higher density residential uses. That doesn't mean no hotel. It means a project that meets a variety of community goals. Instead of the environmental review defines the project objectives so narrowly that mixed-use alternative was dismissed before it was seriously studied. That is not acceptable, especially on public land. We all know we do not have enough housing and certainly not enough affordable housing. Please do vote no on this project. Go back to the drawing board and come back with something the community can actually get behind. Thank you.
The next three speakers will be Brandon Smith, Teresa Garcia, and Jimena Baculin. Brandon Smith.
Ladies and gentlemen, if I may quickly, I would ask and would prefer if you would sit. There are people behind you and you're blocking their ability to see the meeting and see the speakers and ourselves on the dais here. So if you would, I would prefer that you sit. You can come up and speak now. Thank you.
Good evening. Mayor Kloppenstein and the members of the City Council, my name is Brandon Smith. I am a member of Unite Here Local 11, and I work as a bartender and bar porter. Public land should be used to meet the most urgent needs of our community. Garden Grove is currently facing a housing crisis, yet the city is considering to propose to build a 23-story, 500-room hotel resort. The proposed project includes a water park, a lazy river, together with many other amenities. While the site is currently vacant, it is already zoned for mixed use, could be used to provide much needed housing, including affordable housing for working families. There's no small shortage of hotel rooms in the area. Within 1 mile of the project site, Garden Grove already has 9 hotels with over 2,700 rooms. The need for additional hotels is far less pressing than the need for housing. I urge the council to vote no on this proposal and instead prioritize housing, especially affordable housing. This is a publicly owned site, and I thank you.
Next speaker, Teresa Garcia.
Buenas noches, alcaldesa y miembros del Consejo Municipal. Mi nombre es Teresa García y soy miembro de Local 11. He vivido en Garden Grove por 10 años en el vecindario. La ciudad está considerando aprobar un hotel turístico de 500 habitaciones y 23 pisos en un terreno público que ya está zonificado para desarrollo de uso mixto. Este proyecto añadirá otro hotel más a una zona de nuestra ciudad que ya cuenta con más de 2,700 habitaciones de hotel distribuidas en 9 hoteles dentro de 1 milla. Mientras tanto, Garden Grove sigue enfrentando una falta de vivienda, especialmente viviendas accesibles para familias trabajadoras. Los terrenos públicos son un recurso limitado y la manera en que se utilizan importa aprobar otro hotel grande Sin incorporar viviendas significa perder una oportunidad crítica para atender las necesidades más urgentes de nuestra ciudad. Como residente de Garden Grove, le pido al Consejo que vote en contra de esta propuesta y que priorice la construcción de viviendas en terrenos públicos para servir mejor a nuestra comunidad y ahora en el futuro. Gracias por su atención.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. My name is Teresa Garcia, and I am a member of Unite Here Local 11. I have lived in Garden Grove for 10 years. The city is considering approving a 500-room, 23-story resort hotel on a publicly owned site that is already zoned for mixed-use development. This project would add yet another hotel to an area of our city that already has over 2,700 hotel rooms across 9 hotels within 1 mile within the city. Meanwhile, Garden Grove continues to struggle with a lack of housing, especially affordable housing for working families. Public land is an incredibly limited resource, and how it is used matters. Approving another large hotel without incorporating housing misses a critical opportunity to address our city's most pressing needs. As a Garden Grove resident, I urge the council to vote no on this proposal and prioritize housing on public land to better serve our community now and in the future. Thank you.
Buenas noches, alcaldesa y miembros del Consejo Municipal. Mi nombre es Jimena Baculima, soy miembro de Unite Here Local 11. Creo que este proyecto podría hacer mucho más para mitigar sus impactos en el tráfico, los gases de efecto invernadero y las millas recorridas por vehículos. Por ejemplo, el proyecto podría incluir un programa obligatorio de reducción de viajes, subsidios del 100% de transporte público para cualquier empleado que lo desee, programas de estacionamiento o transporte compartido en camionetas para fomentar los viajes en grupo, un componente de vivienda junto con una reducción en el tamaño del hotel u otras amenidades, también disminuiría la huella ambiental general del proyecto. Este proyecto, tal como está propuesto, no es el mejor uso de nuestros terrenos públicos y no cumple con el estándar ambiental que debemos exigir. Por favor, voten en contra de esta propuesta. Gracias.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. My name is Jimena Baculima, and I am a member of Unite Here Local 11. I believe this project could do much more to mitigate its traffic, greenhouse gas, and vehicle impacts. For example, the project could include a mandatory commuter reduction program, 100% transit subsidies for any employee who wants one, parking incentives, or van pulling to encourage carpooling of workers. A housing component paired with a reduction in the hotel size or the other amenities of the project would also lower the project's overall environmental impact. This project, as proposed, is not the best use of our public land and does not meet the environmental bar we should all expect. Please vote no.
We have our next 3 speakers, Carmen Nazario, Jim Nelson, and Danielle Osborne. Carmen? Carmen Nazario. Next speaker, Jim Nelson.
Good evening. I'm Jim Nelson. I'm a resident of Garden Grove for more than a decade. My family's been in the area for a lot longer than that. I'm here in support of this project. That land's been vacant for a long time. My family is in the construction industry. This is the right time to go forward with a project like this. The community needs the work for the temporary jobs, and of course the future impact to all of the permanent jobs is really exciting. So thank you so much for considering this project. It's going to be wonderful. It's going to bring a lot of people to the area, and I thank you for considering it.
Thank you. Next speaker, Daniel Osborne.
Good evening. My name is Daniel Osborne. You can call me Danielle, though. I represent the Iron Workers Local 433. From what I'm understanding, it sounds like even if everything goes accordingly, we're looking at optimistically 3 to 5 years before this thing breaks ground. It sounds to me like that's a lot of time for, I don't know, other affordable housing projects in the meantime. Maybe not just this one site, but on this project in question, me and my members are in support of it primarily because the developers made a commitment to using a skilled and trained workforce. That not only ensures that the project is built quickly, efficiently, safely, and responsibly, but it gives organizations like mine and my brothers and sisters back there the opportunity to put your residents, your constituents to work, not just on this one project, right, but for the next 30 years of their working career, making a mortgage-paying wage, enjoying full medical, earning a retirement. We can't give opportunities like that without projects like this, so I'm hoping that you will approve this SCIR. Let's get past one hoop and help us get the ball rolling. Thank you.
Next speaker, Margarita Perez.
Buenas noches, alcaldesa, Consejo Municipal. Mi nombre es Margarita Ríos y soy miembro de la Unión HERE Local 11. El informe de impacto de ambiente confirma lo que los miembros de la comunidad han estado diciendo desde el principio. La vivienda en este sitio tendría menos impacto ambiental que este proyecto hotelero. Sin embargo, todavía tenemos ante ustedes un proyecto completamente enfocado en otro hotel, cuando Garden Grove ya cuenta con más de 2.700 habitaciones de hotel dentro de 1 milla en este sitio. Mientras tanto, Garden Grove ha cumplido apenas con un poco más de 1% de sus obligaciones de vivienda asequible para esta alcaldía, para esta década. Los datos son claros. Las necesidades de la comunidad son claras. Por favor, rechacen esta propuesta. Insistan en solicitar a presentar un proyecto que realmente refleje las necesidades urgentes de nuestra comunidad. Muchas gracias.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. My name is Margarita Rios Perez, and I am a member of Unite Here Local 11. The environmental impact report confirms what community members have been saying all along. Housing on the site would have less environmental impact than this resort project. Yet we still have before you a project that is entirely focused on another hotel. As others have stated, Garden Grove already has over 2,700 hotel rooms within 1 mile of the site. Meanwhile, Garden Grove has met just over 1% of its affordable housing obligations for this decade. The data is clear, the community's need is clear. Please reject this proposal and urge the applicant to bring back a project that truly reflects the urgent needs of our community. Thank you.
The last public speaker card is Nicholas Dibbs. Nicholas Dibbs for public hearing.
Mayor Klopfenstein, members of the council, I'm Nicholas Dibbs. On this item 21, you have arguments on each side. I want to speak first on the lack of affordable housing. And I want to bring to the council's attention that you have about 100 acres down there at Willowick Golf Course that could be turned into a land trust. And you could provide a lot of green open spaces, parks, and affordable housing down at that golf course where the golf course is, which would help alleviate a lot of the concerns of the people here if they had affordable housing down there on that 100 acres. So that, just keep that in mind. As far as the project, you need to make sure that it's environmentally sound and that the things are in place for the next 20 or 30 years that are going to help keep this project environmentally safe. So you have the two competing sides and you need to make a decision. And I would say the decision should not just be made on what's going to bring in the most revenue for the city, but what's going to help the residents the most. And so I do back the labor people as far as we need good paying jobs. I am concerned, the Carpenters Union, I back them and the other unions of the skilled trades. The problem we have is we don't have enough skilled trade workers. And as I've said to you before, our schools need to do a better job of bringing back our wood shop, metal shop, auto shop, and our skilled trade classes so that people can afford to live here, because that's the problem. They can't afford to live here, and so we need more skilled trades. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, that is all the speaker cards for this item.
All right. Is there anyone else wishing to speak on this item before I close the public hearing? I'm sorry?
You're looking for extra public comment?
If you'd like to go, that's fine, and then we'll have the applicant come up after you.
Thank you. I support both sides because we all need to work, right? And we're thinking hotel workers. Well, you need people to maintain those hotels, and you don't pay them much money to maintain those rooms. And so they need a place to live. That's all they're asking for, is a place to live here so they can work in our hotels in Garden Grove. We have so many. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Tammy, and my property is located directly in front of this project, literally right in front of it. And I spoke at the last meeting regarding how this will be detrimental to my health and my sanity because I work from home, and this project is going to be as noisy as you think it would be. I know every single resident in this neighborhood, in this block, and it's supposed to be yours, and you should meet all of the people. They have concerns about this project, the noise level and the trucks and the pollution. I host over thousands of pollinators in front of my backyard. Everyone knows that. And this project is going to block out all the lights. It's 40 stories. It's going to block out all the lights. All of my pollinators going to be gone. My privacy is going to be gone. I had stalkers in the past. How would this protect me from that? Do you have an answer for that? No.
It's not a back and forth comment, sorry.
Please reject this project. This is going to completely ruin our livelihood, our lives, and our health, because I don't know how the machine, even when it's in construction, that's going to hurt us. After the construction, the machine, the traffic is going to drive directly into my house. Last time we had a meeting, and the developer said that he was going to make sure that all of the trucks were going to be harbor entrance only, and somehow the Strawberry Festival people use the entrance, and you can tell how that will affect the traffic flow inside this neighborhood. It would destroy it. Thank you.
City Attorney, I'm sorry, who did you say was?
The applicant.
Yes, please. Thank you.
I already turned one in.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council, and staff. I'd like to first thank staff. They did an eloquent job of explaining the project, where we're at. I'd also like to thank the ladies and gentlemen who have taken time off of their jobs from the carpenters and the building trades to come in for support of the project, and with the understanding of what we were trying to accomplish. For me, I have been with Cam Sang, if you can believe it now, 22 years. And when I hear individuals talk about members of the staff who we've worked with for the 20 years try to sweep things under the rug or, conceal information. I have intimately been involved with this project in its design, in its inception, and going back to the initial meeting back in the early 2000s as to what Site B2 was to be. And that was to fulfill a vision that Cam Sang made an agreement to fulfill, and that was to bring a hospitality project to the site. I have never known it to be a multidiscipline site. I've never known it to be a housing site. To me, it's always been referred to as a hospitality site, which goes back to something that for us who are old enough to remember something called the Redevelopment Agency was the intent of this. It was to extend the Grove District and the Harbor Boulevard District of bringing hospitality to Garden Grove. Now, Cam Sang Company, who I have been with, like I said, I remember when we came to the council meeting all those many years ago to talk about this assignment and what it meant in the art of generating TOT tax, providing good local jobs, skilled jobs to during the construction period. In addition to that, the permanent jobs that it would create for a city like Garden Grove, on top of the TOT benefits and the commitments that we've made with the TOT tax that will be generated. City staff had mentioned, the revenue potential in TOT that it generates and the importance of the project to help support infrastructure and public services that are valuable to cities. And as mentioned earlier by our Mayor Pro Tem, how hospitality can benefit a project as a whole. When I went to the Planning Commission, it was unique because one of the planning commissioners asked a simple question. He was confused as to why an organization that needs hospitality would all of a sudden start talking about a housing component on a site that has never been mandated for housing. So what we're looking to do from a development standpoint is, after spending years with the staff, I know their proclivity to be conscientious about what they're putting forward. I know what it took for staff and us to sit there as a partnership to develop a site that, although yes, it is a high rise, we understand there's an impact, but the impact will not be any different whether you build the same type of project in housing. They still need tractors, they still need excavation equipment, they still require framers, all the components that are within this hotel will still be required. So not mitigating any sort of greenhouse. I think the staff has taken 4 years in grand total to come up with an environmental document that would hold up. And again, we took an additional 2 years, the staff took an additional 2 years to answer the questions that were brought up back in 2022. And here we are again. I think they've done a great job. When you look at what they've done, if you really read that report, the fact of the matter is that the staff has done an extraordinary job in showing that this project, although has an impact, the same impact from anything that you do with this site. It's construction, so there's always going to be a greenhouse impact when you go to build. So with that, again, I'd just like to thank everybody for their time this evening and look to ask members of council and the mayor to go ahead and vote for us to allow us to go in and put people to work. Thank you.
Thank you very much. With that, we are going to go ahead and close the public hearing, and that will take us into council discussion. I believe we have a comment.
If I may recall the applicant and or Mr. Cam Sang himself, if he likes to speak.
Good evening, Mayor and all of the city councils and all of the staff. So I only have little to say, okay, so put it this way, like today if I have to build a hotel in Garden Grove, I may not that excited and interested, right? So I still remember when I was a kid, so I went to Disney, right? So my parents brought me to Disney. I was looking at it and say Mickey Mouse and things like that, that triggered me that of some of the days that, we can build something similar that attracted to family and kids, right? So finally, about 10 years ago, I got an opportunity to talk to the Nickelodeon group that is owned by Paramount, right? So, of course, Anaheim got Disneyland, got Mickey Mouse, but Garden Grove have SpongeBob, and the Canadian, I think it's a real good opportunity to have something that is excited, that is catering to all the family and kids. You know, when they come from, like, either from, you know, other state, other, you know, world, other place in the world, they'd be so happy that if they can come here and enjoy to see Mickey Mouse at daytime and come back and sleep with SpongeBob. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kamsang. Mr. Kamsang, if you can remain on the dais, I'd like to speak to you for a little bit. We appreciate you coming here and spending the time. You've been here the whole time. You've heard everybody speak. And your consultant has spoken very eloquently and has thanked our staff. They've worked very hard over the last 4 years, and we've resurrected this project. Thank you for your dedication and commitment to our community. You are a friend of Garden Grove. You developed in and around our city a lot. I just want to go back a little bit in history because originally Disneyland was looking at Garden Grove to build Disneyland here, and we turned them down. We sent them to Anaheim. I don't want to repeat that mistake. I want to be able to keep the economic engine of growth here in Garden Grove. The Harbor Corridor, the B2 location, is known to be a tourist attraction for Garden Grove. Puts us on the map. It's our answer to Disneyland. But having said that, you know the challenges ahead of you. You're competing head to head with Disneyland in terms of providing rooms. They are expanding with Disneyland Forward, the Avatar Land, and they will have water features that will be competing with Nickelodeon at the site you're planning to build. And so every asset can turn into a liability very quickly. We can't just look at your project as an asset when, if it fails, it becomes a liability. We're not going to get that 200, 300, 100 something millions of dollars in 30 years. Instead, we'll be carrying a liability. And that's on the shoulders of our residents. And I want you to make a commitment tonight to the men and women who are here asking you and supporting your project that you hire local unions and our residents here in this area. Can you make that commitment long term, and please negotiate with them for the contracts that they're looking. They're here in support of your project. And I cannot vote up the project if it doesn't bring the jobs, if it doesn't support the union, if it doesn't help our residents here. I can't vote it up in good conscience. Can you make a commitment that you will negotiate with them and provide those jobs?
Yes, I think the project actually is mandated on the DDA development agreement that we really need to using the union labor, skilled trade to do the project. So it would be mandated in there once the project is approved. Definitely, when we're going in and start doing our construction drawing at that time, we would direct our contractor to get the contractor agreement, labor union agreement with the all the building trade.
One last thing I would plead with you. Thank you for that commitment. It's already written into the project. It's baked in, and it will happen. So we will have local employment and long-term employment even after the business is in operation. After you're long gone, I'm long gone, we still need to provide. My wife was here on council when the redevelopment agency happened, Dina Nguyen, and she approved a lot of your projects too. Please make the commitment that after this project is successful, that you and your company will continue to develop in and around Garden Grove and provide for the housing component that everyone here is really just pleading for that. They're not against your project per se. They're saying it's public land that should be reserved for housing. And I know that in your other projects, like on Brookhurst Place, you do bake in the low income, the housing, affordable housing component. So please, if we vote this up, keep developing in underground Garden Grove and provide more for housing. If you can make that commitment, I think we can, in good conscience, vote up this project.
Yeah, we will be constantly talking to the staff. When previously the gentleman talking about the golf course, actually, the staff has been talking with us and saying that, you're interested to continue to build more mixed use and affordable housing and housing.
Right. So this project is not the end all be all. It's not going to solve everything, but bringing revenue to the city in terms of bed taxes, TOT, and revenues, that is directly benefit the residents. Up to 80% of our budget comes from TOT, from revenue from bed taxes. So your contribution in terms of the revenue to the city with this project is a direct benefit to our residents. I want everybody to understand that. There's no choosing between revenue to the city and benefits to the residents. It's one and the same thing. It is the golden goose that lays the golden egg, and we don't want to kill it. We want to be able to support it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. So, when I was on the Planning Commission many moons ago, this project first came before us, and I was one of the planning commissioners that voted in support of this project. And it's been a while since then. And I'll be honest, I think Joe's is a bit more diplomatic than I am at this point of the night. But I would be remiss if I did not express my frustration on both ends. I feel a frustration for our folks in the building trades, that it's taken us this long for us to have a point where we feel confident and comfortable in this project. And I feel frustrated for our residents that feel like they definitely need more, and our residents that work in hospitality. Here in Garden Grove, District 6, and also in District 5, so much of our neighbors are working class people. They work in hospitality. And we expect that the folks that come and build here are going to be good neighbors, that they're going to be responsive neighbors. So with regards to Kamsang, I expect nothing but the best behavior in terms of being responsive and being good partners going forward, so that we feel like we can also have trust in you guys. And we feel confident and comfortable should you be doing any other projects in our city. So that is what I would like to communicate to you guys, because I don't like seeing my neighbors frustrated. I don't like seeing any of my neighbors frustrated. And let me tell you what, our residents call me up too, and they say, when is this thing gonna get built? It's been an empty lot for the last time immemorial. They say, I'm on my way to Target. Why hasn't this thing been built yet? What is going on up here? What's going on? And it's been really frustrating to not be able to give them a set response. We want to be able to provide good paying jobs, good middle class jobs for our residents here in our local community. So many of my neighbors are in the trades, and I value that. So many of my friends and their parents have worked in hospitality as well. And I hope that you will be listening to the folks here as well.
Yeah, I think I echo Councilman Dovin and Councilwoman Aristagi. I have a hard time with your last name for some reason.
My grandfather did a number on me, George.
We talk about, that golf course. Well, that golf course is in Santa Ana. Even if we were to do it, Garden Grove wouldn't get any credit for housing. It wouldn't, we own the property, but the property is in the city of Santa Ana. So it would go towards their RENA numbers. We've already clarified that with, numerous times. Whenever there's any kind of development in a developed city, there's pain. And by pain, there's construction noise. There's, parking issues that go along with the construction. You just can't get around that. You can't build anything new in a built-up city without a little bit of pain in the community. And I mean, it's just the truth. We have a development over on in my district, and it's daily. The neighbors are, and it's 27 units. It's not even a very big thing, but almost daily, I got emails, phone calls, neighbors pissed off because there's a truck blocking their driveway who's dropping off materials, or, the cement truck is making noise. Unfortunately, we don't live in an area anymore that has a bunch of open property, you know? And so the cities that do, you know, they get to benefit from that because they don't have to disturb their communities as much when they're building. But unfortunately, we're developed. So you're going to have those inconveniences unless you want things falling down and just getting old. I mean, you got to keep building. I look back on this property. I can remember when back in the day they were trying to make a casino there. That they were going to give it to the Indian tribe and make a casino, and the community came out against that. They had the city had a bunch of community meetings in the late 90s and even in the mid 90s, and the whole hotel thing kind of came to fruition. And I think Mr. Chang said something about how he was involved since the very beginning when those community meetings were going. And that's when the city came up with the whole hotel corridor kind of thing, that whole area dedicated for hotels and that kind of thing. And again, I was against it. I thought it was going to be terrible. We're going to have all these, but I was wrong. And I'm not proud to say, I mean, I was wrong. Those hotels have saved our city's bacon. Not once, not twice, but at least 3 times. And they keep our city parks clean as much as we can. They pay for our fire department. They pay for our police department. They pay for a lot of the events that go on throughout our city. The quality of life in this city would be much different if it wasn't for the TOT generated from those hotels. So with that all being said, I do understand we need housing. But this area for decades has been dedicated for what it is and what we have been looking to go forward with for decades. So I don't see any reason to break from that at this point. So anyway, with that all being said, I'll move the item.
Anybody else have any comments?
I'll just have a couple of closing comments on this, if nobody else has anything to say. I wanna be able to talk to my fellow residents that we are all concerned about housing. In fact, one of the agenda item tonight, we voted an amendment to supplement housing costs that the city has to borne out. So we're doing everything we can about housing. But I want to let you know, the biggest improvement in providing affordable housing is, in fact, accessory dwelling unit. It's ADUs. The individual families are pulling permit to build ADU. We can process 400 or 500 ADU applications a month. And that's where we're going to get more affordability in our cities. It's individuals and families building more ADUs. That's where the affordable housing is coming from. We are going to solve our own problem one unit at a time. We can't count on the developer to come in and build 400 or 500 units of affordable housing for us. It's not going to happen because the market forces doesn't support such projects. So we have to do what we can individually and as a community. And I know that Preet has created in his department pre-approved ADU plans, at least 4 models that people can go in and put in for these ADUs very expeditiously. So I encourage our residents to take it upon themselves to assist the city. We can't do everything. I want to echo President John F. Kennedy. Ask not what our city can do for you. Ask what you can do for your city. So we all have to pitch in for solutions. We can't look to developers to solve all the problems for us. Yes, they're here to develop it in their own interest, but they also give back a lot to the community. And Mr. Kamsang is, you can't find a better friend to Garden Grove than Mr. Kamsang and his company. He's proven that over at least the 20 something years that he's been developing in and around our area. And I believe him. I trust him when he makes a commitment to provide work and long-term employment to our citizens and our residents. And I respect that, and I thank you very much for sticking it out 6 long years. We got to this point, so let's all come together and support this project.
Thank you, Councilmember, and thank you, everyone. Do you have a question or comment? Yeah.
I want to thank all the residents who came out to speak, participate in the process, and share their concerns, particularly regarding the noise and the project impact in neighboring communities. I want to be clear that my support comes from the commitment to our residents. As construction moves forward, which sounds like won't be for several years out, I will work closely with the staff to make sure that the developers ensure construction hours and activities are conducted in a manner that is respectful to our neighbors and minimizing disruption as much as possible. I also want to acknowledge that the hardworking employees who will make the hotel successful, they will make it with the trades. Additionally, should the workers choose to organize and continue to support their rights to do so, and will stand with Unite Here Local 11, ensuring workers have a fair voice in their workplace. With that being said, I will be voting yes on report.
Thank you very much. I appreciate all the feedback and the dialogue this evening on this item. I think as a council, we've made a commitment to strong trade jobs in this community, but we've also made a commitment to growing our tourism corridor. We know what this TOT revenue means for our community, and I think everyone here has explained that tonight. We heard community wealth, and that ties directly into quality of life, and we know that good union trade jobs and a skilled trade workforce is good for our community and good for these projects. We'll continue to negotiate in good faith, and we're definitely committed to, as I said, the skilled and trade workforce. With that, we have a motion, and we have a second. Call for the vote, please.
I'm sorry, for the record, who was the second?
Yesenia Muniton.
Thank you. Motion receives 7 yes votes. Motion carries.
We're going to go ahead and take a 5-minute recess at this time. All right, I think we're going to go ahead and reconvene and go into oral communication at this time. Madam Clerk, do we have any pink cards?
Madam Mayor, we do have 2 speakers. Christine Edis.
Okay, I showed up late and I missed the GKN meeting. Good evening, I'm Christine, a resident of Garden Grove District 1. Like so many of us here today, we are Garden Grove residents and families that were evacuated or directly affected due to the hazmat incident. My family lives a mile away from the GKN chemical plant, and we were evacuated. Wakeham Elementary, the school I attended, was in the danger zone, and my first neighborhood that I grew up in, Crow Village, was as well. I am grateful that the worst case scenarios were prevented. Our lives have been turned upside down from this incident. As an educator in Orange County, I can only imagine the trauma that our children are experiencing, just thinking that their school and home would be wiped out with an explosion. We have a lot of questions and have lost trust in our government agencies to be transparent and trustworthy of the information being provided to the public. I am here to demand that GKN is held accountable for their repeated violations and the harm they have caused the immediate communities of Stanton and surrounding areas. We want to make sure that this harmful toxic chemical is away from Stanton residents and schools, especially if the fines are just pennies to GKN. Obviously, they've repeatedly violated these safety and health standards. They must compensate the families not only for expenses accrued, but for the displacement and disruption caused to their daily lives. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker, Nicholas Tibbs.
Mayor, since there's only 2 speakers, we can't have 3 minutes?
We're just going to keep it on 2. It's getting
Okay,
late, Nick.
all right, sorry. Okay, first I want to speak in favor of item 28, the Eastgate Park building, renaming it in honor of Pastor Eric Williams. I had a chance to meet him and talk to him before his untimely and tragic death. I think that that's a great idea. Thank you, Mayor, for bringing that up, and I support that. With regard to the hearing that we just had on item 21, I do want to clarify, yes, it's true what Councilman Bredigan said. Garden Grove may not get credit for the low-income housing on the 100 acres, but it's owned by the city, and it will provide or could provide green space as well as affordable housing with priority given to Garden Grove residents because it's owned by the city. And so it is an opportunity down the road for the council to think about what are they going to do with that 100 acres? Are they going to leave it as a golf course, or my suggestion, as in the past, is to put it into a land trust so that it, in perpetuity, it is used for green space, parks, and for low-income housing. Now, with regard to the GKN incident, I think the city needs to consider, and you can check with the city attorney, but somehow pulling their permit or their ability to be there and just kick them out, if there's anything that can be done like that. You know, they've caused enough damage, and I think the city needs to look into, is there anything that can be done to force them to leave? If that cannot be done, then I suggest that the city work with OSHA and with whatever regulatory agencies you can to make sure that they comply with whatever safety they can do. Okay, that can be done. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, that concludes our public speakers.
All right, thank you very much. That'll conclude oral communication. We will recess and head into other legislative business.
difficulties. Are you seeing the successor agency?
Mm-mm.
No.
Still showing City
Okay.
Council. Yeah, we can.
There's nothing. Okay. Let me try sanitary district and see if that refreshes it.
Yeah.
It did? Okay, I'm gonna go back to successor agency.
Yep,
We can
there
do
you go.
Okay, perfect.
All right, Madam Clerk, please call roll.
Member Brightigam?
Here.
Member Nguyen?
Here.
Member Tran?
Here.
Member Dovin?
Present.
Member Aristegui?
Here.
Vice Chairman Yadon?
Here.
And Chair Klopfenstein?
Here. All right, we've already held oral communication simultaneously with other things, so we'll move into item number 1 on the consent calendar, which is receive and file the minutes.
Second.
Motion and a second. Call for the vote, please.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
All right, and that takes us to items for consideration number 2.
Item 2 is adoption of a resolution amending the Garden Grove Successor Agency fiscal year 2026-27 budget, and Finance Director Patricia Song is here to provide the report.
Madam Secretary, could you please pull up the screen, the slides, please? Thank you. Good evening, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the Successor Agency Board. The item before you tonight is a resolution amending the fiscal year 26-27 budget for the City of Garden Grove as successor agency to the former Agency for Community Development. The agency's budget was originally adopted last June as part of city's biannual budget process. However, the State Department of Finance, or DOF, serves as the final approving authority for the successor agency's expenditures through what is called the Recognized Obligation Payment Schedule, or commonly referred to as ROPS. The ROPS is prepared and approved annually and identifies enforceable obligations that the successor agency is authorized to pay during the fiscal year. In January, the agency received the DOF's approved ROPS for fiscal year 26-27, and as part of this review, the DOF reduced the agency's allowable administrative cost allowance, resulting in a $626,000 reduction in overhead cost recovery. Together with several other minor adjustments, the proposed amendments to reduce the agency's fiscal year 26-27 budget by approximately $681,000, resulting in an amended budget of $7.2 million, shows on the screen right here. The amended budget remains fully consistent with the enforceable obligations approved by the state DOF. Accordingly, staff recommends that the successor agency board adopt the resolution approving the fiscal year 26-27 amended budget. This concludes my report. I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the report. Colleagues, questions, comments?
Just a comment, it's kind of nice to be able to amend things down instead of up. So with that being said, I'll move it.
All right,
second.
I have a motion and a second. Call for the vote, please.
My screen is struggling.
Frozen, we can do a roll call vote.
Yeah, she's on slow motion.
Yeah, it looks like they're coming in. No, still no response? No.
The
Okay, we can
screen
do a
is
roll
blacked
call
out.
vote. Member Brightigam? Member Nguyen?
Yes.
Yes.
Member Tran?
Yes.
Member Dovin?
Aye.
Member Aristegui?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Yadon?
Yes.
And Chair Klopfenstein?
Yes.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
Great. All right, that takes us on to matters. Anything? All right, we will adjourn and head to sanitary district. And please call roll.
Member Brightigam?
Here.
Member Nguyen?
Here.
Member Dovin?
Present.
Member Muñetón?
Here.
Member Aristegui?
Here.
Vice President Tran?
Here.
And President Klopfenstein?
Here. All right, consent is one item, receive and file the minutes.
Second.
A second, call for the vote, please. We already handled oral communication, I skipped that.
Okay, motion received, 7 yes votes.
Okay, and that will take us into public hearings. We have 3 of them this evening. Item 2.
Item 2 is adoption of a resolution to collect refuse collections and disposal service charges on tax roll for properties located in Improvement District 1. And Finance Director Patricia Song is here to provide the report.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam President and members of the board. The item before you is a resolution authorizing the collection of refuse disposal service charges on the county property tax roll for properties located within Improvement District Number 1. Improvement District Number 1 was established in 1997 as part of the Orange County reorganization process. The properties within the district were previously served by Midway City Sanitary District, where refuse disposal service charges were traditionally collected through the annual property tax bill. At the request of the property owners, the Garden Grove Sanitary District has continued this method of collection. To maintain this process, the board must conduct a public hearing and approve a report identifying the charges to be assessed to each parcel receiving the service. Upon approval, the report will be submitted to the county auditor controllers for placement on property tax roll, and the charges are subsequently collected through the property owner's annual property tax bills. This monthly service charge, the monthly service charge for standard residential service in the Improvement District Number 1 is the same as that charged throughout the rest of the city. Beginning July 1st, 2026, the monthly rate will be $33.75 for standard residential service, which includes one recycling bin, one organic bin for green waste and food waste collection, and one refuse bin. Following the public hearing, staff recommends the board to adopt the resolution authorizing the collection of refuse disposal service charges on the county property tax roll for Improvement District Number 1, which requires 5 affirmative votes, and direct staff to submit the necessary documentation to the county for inclusion of the charges on the property tax roll. This concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions of staff before I open the public hearing? All right, we will go ahead and open the public hearing at this time. Is there anyone wishing to speak on this item?
Mayor Kloffenstein, members of the council, citizens of Garden Grove, my name is Nicholas Dibbs. I spoke out about this, I think, last year and perhaps the year before. I live in the area of West Garden Grove that used to be part of the Midway City Sanitary District, and it's very efficient to be paying the trash collection bill or to pay it with the property tax. It just makes it so simple and easy. And I remember being in this room when there were problems with billing on the other parts of the city that don't have that. So I'm here to just say it works well in what used to be Midway City Sanitary District portion of Garden Grove on the west side. Why not see about adopting that billing method for the rest of the city so that you don't have situations where tenant doesn't pay the property, doesn't pay the trash or sewer bill, and then you have to go after the homeowner, and it creates more work for the staff, more time consuming. It just is, I think, more efficient, will save the city money if you'll adopt the same type of billing system for the rest of Garden Grove. So that's my input on that. So that's, George, I hope you'd make a motion to do that, hopefully. Or put on the agenda for the next meeting if you have to do it that way. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak? All right, seeing none, we will go ahead and close the public hearing, and I believe we have a report out regarding protests received regarding the proposed assessment.
Yes, Madam President, Klopfenstein and board members, as of the close of this public hearing, the city clerk's office has received 0 protests regarding this assessment. Therefore, there's not a majority protest.
Thank you very much. Members, any discussion before we move to a vote? Yes.
Yeah, I also live in the area, and it is, there's an old saying, a broken clock is right twice a day. Nick Dibbs made a great point earlier. Why doesn't the rest of the city do this? There's going to be a lot less problems with all this. It might even be easier for Republic. I mean, it might save everybody a lot of, I mean, it's very efficient way of doing things. People tend to like it when it's easy. It probably relieves a lot of staff on Republic side. I mean, maybe we should look at doing it for the whole city. I know, you know, when I moved there, it was still Midway sanitation, and you know, but yeah. With that being said, maybe staff can look into it and see if it's a feasible thing, and report back at the next meeting, maybe. I don't know if I need a second for that.
I'll second.
Yeah.
You need a second.
All right, if required. Nick, you got your way.
Thank you, George.
And with that, I'll make the motion.
Any other comments or a second?
I do believe I seconded.
Okay. I have a motion and a second. Call for the vote, please.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
All right, that takes us on to public hearing, item 3.
Item number 3 is adoption of a resolution to authorize the imposition of liens on parcels with delinquent payments for refuse collection and disposal service charges. And Finance Director Patricia Song is going to provide that report.
Good evening again. This item before you is a resolution authorizing the placement of delinquent refuse collection and disposal service charges on the property tax roll and the imposition of liens against affected parcels. Tonight we also have representatives from Republic Services in attendance this evening to answer any questions from the board or the members of the public. So refuse collection and disposal service within the City of Garden Grove Sanitary District are provided by Republic Services. Customers are billed on a quarterly basis, and the final billing for the current fiscal year was issued in February. Any unpaid charges from that billing became delinquent on May 1st. Pursuant to California Health and Safety Code, delinquent refuse service charges, together with a 10% penalty, may be submitted to the county auditor controller for collections through the property tax roll. Once recorded by the county, the delinquent charges become a lien against the property and are collected in the same manner as property taxes. Before any liens are imposed, staff and Republic Services undertook extensive outreach efforts to ensure that affected property owners were properly notified. These efforts include mailed notices, automated telephone calls, and live outreach by Republic Services staff assigned to Garden Grove residential accounts. In addition, notice of this public hearing was translated into Korean, Spanish, and Vietnamese and published in local newspapers to maximize public awareness. As of last week, a total of 1,801 parcels remain delinquent, with outstanding balances ranging from $56 to $780. Property owners have until July 14, 2026 to make payment and avoid assessment and the lien process. As required by state law, the board must conduct a public hearing before approving the delinquent charges for collection through the property tax roll. Following the public hearing, staff recommends the board to adopt the resolution authorizing the collection of delinquent refuse disposal service charges on the property tax roll, which also requires 5 affirmative votes, and direct staff to submit the required documentation to the county for collection of the delinquent amounts. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions of staff before we open the public hearing? All right, seeing none, is there anyone, I'm going to open the public hearing. Is there anyone wishing to speak? All right.
Let me just say it would be nice if there were more people to speak at public hearings, because I think there are residents who have concerns on different things, whether it's public comment generally or in public hearings. And so starting July, people will be able to call in to make public comments. I hope you'll please apply that as well, Omar and the staff and the council to public hearings, so people can call in if they can't physically be here. So again, thank you, George, for that motion, and Councilman Aristegi for seconding it. And I think it would be great. We can eliminate that over 1,100 delinquent accounts and all the collection effort and the headache, and just put the whole city on property tax assessment billing once a year. It goes with the property tax. If they pay the property tax twice a year, then they pay it that way. But it's so nice to do it that way. And then, being that I'm a landlord, I collect it from the tenant in their rent. So thank you very much. I encourage, again, for the council and the staff to adopt the other kind of billing that we had in the former Midway City Sanitary District, because then that will help eliminate all the extra work that you have to do to try to collect and then put a lien on somebody's house. That's just a lot of paperwork and a lot of effort. So encourage the council to do what I've asked, so thank you, George, and Councilman Aristides, and thank you for listening. I do want to just, on a side note, say let's still have the mayor's, college graduates reception, just postpone it.
Nick, you got to stick to the
Thank you.
public
Okay, that's
hearing
all.
comment.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Am I hearing this right, that people, if they are delinquent on their trash bill, that you guys are like taking possession of their property? I'm trying to understand this. And like, if there's a list of people owing $56 that their property will be on lien, am I understanding this right?
City Attorney, if you'd like to, yeah.
Yeah, so if a bill for trash is more than 90 days late, then we can lien the property. It simply means that it gets added to their tax bill.
Okay, so where can I find this list so then maybe I can help
The
get the resident notice? Because sometimes the bill comes and they just think it's trash. And also in my neighborhood, I get IRS bill from my neighbor from like 5 blocks away. So they don't get the mail most of the time. So where
Ma'am,
can
I'll
I
have
find-
somebody speak to you off to the side. We have to, in public hearing, I have to speak very specifically to the item at hand, but we can have someone from Republic or we can have our city attorney speak to you
Okay.
if you'd like more information about that. We're not
Great.
really supposed to have a back and forth.
The list,
Thank
the
you.
list was published with the agenda and is attached to the staff report.
Perfect. Thank you
It's
so
online.
much. All right, with that, we're going to go ahead and close the public hearing, and we're going to ask for the report from the secretary regarding protests received regarding the proposed assessment.
As of the close of this public hearing, the city clerk's office has received 0 protests regarding this assessment. Therefore, there is not a majority protest.
Colleagues, any other discussion on this item, or I'll entertain a motion?
Can we have Omar answer our resident's question?
I think he did, but yes.
Okay, just want to make sure that,
Yeah,
that she
I
got
did
the
answer.
information.
I think the last question was, where can she find it? It's ggcity.org.
Okay, thank you, Omar.
It was attached to the agenda item.
Mhm.
Yeah, thank you for the clarification. I have a motion.
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second. Call for the vote, please.
Motion receives 7 yes votes.
All right, on to public hearing 4.
Item 4 is adoption of a resolution to collect sewer service fees on tax roll for properties located outside the city limits, and Finance Director Patricia Song will provide the report.
You. Good evening, Madam President and members of the board. The item before you is a resolution authorizing the collection of sewer service charges through the county property tax roll for properties located outside the city limit and do not receive water service from the city. So the majority of the properties served by the Garden Grove Sanitary District also receive water service from the city. For those customers, sewer service charges are billed through the city water billing system. However, there are about 1,800 properties that locate outside the city limits and receive sewer services but do not receive water services from us. For these properties, sewer service charges are collected through the property tax roll. The sewer service rates for those properties are the same as those charged to all other customers throughout the city. The sewer service fees were established by the board through adopted ordinances and are designed to generate sufficient revenue to operate and maintain the sewer system, meet debt service obligations, and comply with applicable state and federal laws. Because sewer service charges are based on water consumption, the amount assessed varies by parcel. In order to place these charges on the property tax roll, the county requires the district board to conduct a public hearing and approve the report identifying the charges to be assessed to each parcel with 5 affirmative votes. Following the public hearing, staff recommends the board to adopt the resolution, approve the sewer service charge report, and authorize the collection of the service charges through the county property tax roll, and also direct the staff to submit the necessary documentation to the county for inclusion of the charges on the property tax. This concludes my report. I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your report. Any questions of staff before I open the public hearing? All right, see none, I will open the public hearing. I don't see anyone wishing to speak, so I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing. And at this time, we will receive the report from the secretary regarding protests received regarding the proposed assessment.
As of the close of this public hearing, the city clerk's office has received 0 protests regarding this assessment. Therefore, there is not a majority protest.
Thank you very much. Any discussion on this item or a motion?
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Call for the vote, please.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
Right. And that will take us into items for consideration. Number 5.
Item 5 is adoption of resolutions amending the Garden Grove Sanitary District fiscal year 2026-27 budget, and Finance Director Patricia Song will provide the report.
Thank you. Could you please pull up the screen again? Thank you. Good evening, everyone. This item is a budget-related item to the sanitary district. There are 3 resolutions in front of you in relates to the district's fiscal year 26-27 budget. The sanitary district biannual budget was adopted last June. As operational needs evolve and new projects are identified, periodic budget adjustments are necessary to ensure that resources remain aligned with service demands and district priorities. These adjustments allow the district to continue providing reliable and cost-effective services to our community. The district oversees both sewer utility and refuse collection. For the sewer utility, the proposed amendments that total about $463,000, and the changes include 3 supplemental requests totaling $163,000, an additional $790,000 for capital improvement projects, and $130,000 increase in funding the unfunded pension liability. These increases are partially offset by a $619,000 reduction in administrative overhead charges resulting from the implementation of a citywide cost allocation plan. The proposed amended budget for the sewer utility is just over $20 million for fiscal year 26-27. Now, for refuse collection, disposal, and recycling fund, the proposed amendments include 5 supplemental requests totaling about $164,000, and a $22,000 increase in pension liability costs, and a reduction of $118,000 in administrative overhead charges. Altogether, these adjustments result in a net increase of $67,000, bringing the amended budget for the refuse operation to just over $3 million next year. Combined, the proposed amendments increase the district's fiscal year 26-27 budget by approximately $530,000. And even with these changes, the district continues to maintain healthy working capital reserves and remains consistent with its longstanding financial and business principles. Accordingly, staff recommends the board to adopt the resolution establishing the district's fiscal year 26-27 appropriations limit, approving the amended budget, and reappropriating eligible project balances and outstanding encumbrances from the current fiscal year into fiscal year 26-27. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Question?
Yes.
Patricia, we don't expect any more amendments or resolutions for this year, correct?
For sanitary district, yes, this is the resolution adopting the amended budget. If there are any additional changes, funding increases, it will be coming to you separately as the project surface or any other funding needs appears.
But most likely, this will take us to next year.
This is for next year, yes.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions or a motion?
Going the wrong way, but I'll move it.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Call for the vote, please.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
All right, that takes us on to item 6.
Item 6 is award of contracts to Dudek, Accenture Infrastructure and Capital Project, LLC, and West Yost and Associates, Inc., for on-call construction management and inspection services for various water and sewer capital improvement projects. And this is a joint action item with the City Council. And we have Public Works Director Sam Kim here to provide the report.
Madam President and members of the board, tonight the Sanitary District Board is being asked to award contracts to DUDEC, Accenture Infrastructure and Capital Project, LLC, and West Hughes and Associate for on-call construction management and inspection services for various water and sewer capital improvement projects. The Water Services Division has continued increasing its effort to implement capital improvement projects identified in the 2020 Water Master Plan and the 2022 and 26 Sewer System Condition Assessment Studies. Several upcoming projects currently in design and planning phases will require consultant construction management and inspection services due to limited staff and expertise availability. The on-call construction management and inspection services will allow the Water Services Division to efficiently implement these projects without delay, maintain continuity across multiple projects, and reduce admin overhead. This project includes the Lamson Reservoir Rehab Project, Well 29 Restoration Project, Well 30 SCADA Improvement Project, Bowen Street and Black Street Water Improvement Project, and SSRP Phase 2 Sewer Main Replacement Project Number 2, and SSRP Phase 2 Sewer Lining Project Number 2. Staff initiated a request for proposals and received 5 proposals. Then staff evaluated and rated the proposals based on qualification. Following the evaluation process, staff determined that UDEC, Accenture Infrastructure and Capital Project LLC, and West Hughes and Associate are the most qualified firms. The negotiated professional services agreement is for not to exceed $500,000 with each consultant as needed basis, with an option to extend for 3 additional years at $250,000 per year. These services are budgeted within the various capital improvement projects included in the city's adopted 5-year capital improvement plan using water and sewer funds. This concludes the staff's report, and staff is here to answer any questions.
Thank you, Director Kim. Colleagues, questions? Yes.
Yeah, so this is $500,000, up to $500,000 with 2 consultants.
3 consultants.
Okay, that's where I was confused. So we're talking up to 1.5 million.
Yes, sir.
It's not, okay. So this 500,000 is kind of not a true number. It's up to 1.5 million.
Yeah, adding up all 3 is 1.5.
Yeah. Okay. I just, going forward, I think we should be more transparent when we're putting numbers like that on these agendas, so the public is more aware. You know, this is 500,000 per consultant, not $500,000 in total.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, with that being said, I get it, and I know we need the services, and heaven help us, this stuff, you know, when the sewers don't work, we hear about it, right? So I'll make the motion.
Thank you.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Call for the vote, please.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
All right, that takes us to matters. Anything before we adjourn? All right, at this time, we'll adjourn and head back to our city council meeting. I believe that takes us to our consent calendar. We'd already pulled and voted on item 5, so I'll take a motion on the balance unless anybody would like to pull an item.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to pull 15.
15, all right. Anything else? All right. We want to vote on the balance then?
Yes, I'll move it.
Okay.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second on the balance. Call for the vote, please.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
All right, thank you. And that gives us item 15.
Item 15 is approval of writing off certain delinquent obligations owed to the city as uncollectible debt. And Finance Director Patricia Song is here to provide the report.
Well, I guess, you want to provide, or can I just ask you the questions?
Either way.
Probably faster if I just ask. So I have a little heartburn with this. Basically, we're being asked to waive $164,000 in uncollected debt. And the chart shows, you know, the vast majority of these are DUI type traffic collisions where there was city property damaged. And I just have heartburn for giving that. These people got drunk, got in their cars, they crashed, they caused damage to public property. I get that it's hard to track these people down sometimes, but I just kind of want an explanation of what collection services we're using, what, you know, I know that some people may have died, but the chart doesn't say why. Excuse me. It doesn't say, you know, this person deceased or this person was tried to, you know, we haven't been able to contact for however long, or it doesn't give any explanation of what the problems were with contact. And, you know, it just says a debt collection service of some type was used, and, or was it? You know, did we go to one of these, you know, where they take a percentage of it, and how long transpired? Because there's no time here. It doesn't say that this accident happened in 1996 and this one happened. It's just a, you know, kind of incomplete as far as the chart. Doesn't give a whole lot of information. So because of, you know, just the bad taste it leaves in my mouth, because we're rewarding these criminals basically by not going after them, I'd like to get an accounting of what has gone down to get this money.
Sure, Mayor Pro Tem. Yes, I can explain. So these are the damages caused to city properties as well as city resources, including, say, police response time and you know, other public works response time and vehicles uses and everything. So the city we do go after these criminals. A lot of them are related to. But again, these are, like you mentioned, a lot has to do with DUI, a lot has to do with traffic collision, and all of these names listed here are either uninsured or underinsured. So the city also hires a third-party administrator to handle all, we call it subrogation process, meaning that, you know, these are the damages that the city incurred that we are using every opportunity to recover the costs. So we hire Carl Warren to handle the subrogation cases. They do look for all of the information of the person who caused the damage and go into their finances, trying to recoup anything, sending information to franchise tax board or IRS to put a lien on their property, on their, say, lottery winnings or tax refunds, all sorts of that. However, most of these do not have any accounts. That it's, you know, we exhausted pretty much every opportunity that we can. We're not able to locate any of the assets that we can attach a lien to. We cannot locate the person. We cannot garnish their wages. That is why we consider those as uncollectible. Doesn't mean that we're giving up. Their account information is still maintained in our billing system. So in the future, if we come across anything, that will be referenced, that will be flagged. However, this is really for accounting, financial reporting purposes, that we are required by the generally accepted accounting principles to review our receivables and to make any uncollectible amounts to be written off after 6 months or longer, that we consider it's highly unlikely to be collected. So it's more of a administrative procedure than giving up on pursuing the collection of these amounts owed to the city.
Okay, fair enough. And I guess we're not giving up on it. We're just basically erasing the line item from our budget.
For financial reporting on our,
for
in our
reporting
general
purposes
ledger.
only. I guess my backup question to this is going to be, have we utilized, I mean, we've got some of the best investigators in the state with Garden Grove PD. I bet you if we gave this list to an investigator over there, they could probably dig up some of these people for you. Has that been attempted?
We have, yeah. These files are referred to us from PD. They exhausted their efforts. They referred to us. We send it over to our collection or subrogation experts, and then we've done everything we can.
Thank you very much.
A motion?
Yeah. Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Call for the vote, please.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
All right, we're back into public hearings. Item 22.
Item 22 is adoption of a resolution amending user fees for tree removals and aquatic pool rentals. And Finance Director Patricia Song will provide the report.
Madam Clerk, good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. This item is a resolution amending the city tree removal fee and establishing an aquatic pool rental fee. So these are user fees, they're not taxes. They are charged only to individuals or organizations that voluntarily utilize the special city services or facilities and receive a direct benefit. The city has long been committed to recovering service costs from users in order to protect the interest of the general taxpayer. Periodic review and adjustments of user fees is an important component of maintaining the city's financial sustainability and ensuring that service costs are allocated correctly or fairly. The proposed fee amendments before you tonight relates to aquatic pool rentals and city tree removal services. Let me begin with the aquatic pool rental. The Community Services Department completed a comprehensive fee study in 2023 and updated rental fees for most of the city facilities. At that time, the city's pool facility were not included in the analysis. With the upcoming reopening of the renovated Woodbury Park Aquatic Center, staff identified the need to establish a consistent and comprehensive fee schedule for all three city pool facilities, including the Woodbury Park, Magnolia Park, and Gary Hall. The proposed pool rental fees are based on two primary cost components: facility costs and staffing costs. Facility costs are calculated using a rate of 1.5 cents per square foot. In addition, each rental requires a minimum of 2 lifeguards to ensure participant safety. The proposed lifeguard rate is $25 per hour per employee, which reflects the city's fully burdened labor cost. Based on this cost component, the proposed minimum hourly rental rates are approximately $60 for Magnolia Pool, $85 for Gary Hall Pool, and $95 for Woodbury Park Pool. These proposed rates are generally at or below those charged by neighboring Orange County cities. The second fee adjustment relates to the removal of city trees. From time to time, residents request removal of city-owned trees located adjacent to their properties. The Public Works Department utilizes an on-call tree service contractor to perform this work in a timely and cost-effective manner. The current tree removal fee had not been updated for several years and no longer reflect the city's actual costs. In addition to increased contractor pricing, the current fees do not recover staff time associated with evaluating the requests, coordinating the work, and administering the contract. The proposed fee schedule incorporates the fiscal year 26-27 contractual rates for tree removal as well as the city's direct administrative cost. The fee structure will continue to be based on tree size, with the proposed rates increasing by approximately $300 on average. These adjustments will help ensure that the cost of these optional services are borne by the users who directly benefit from them, rather than by the general taxpayer. Accordingly, staff recommends the City Council to conduct a public hearing and adopt a resolution approving the proposed aquatic pool rental fee and the city tree removal fee. This concludes my report. I'll be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Song. Appreciate that. Any questions of staff before I open the public hearing? All right, at this time, I will open the public hearing. Is there anyone wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, I am going to go ahead and close the public hearing. And is there any discussion or a motion on this item?
I'll move it.
A second.
Okay, motion and a second. Call for the vote.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
All right, that takes us to public hearing, item 23.
Item 23 is adoption of resolutions approving the 2025 Urban Water Management Plan and the 2025 Water Shortage Contingency Plan. And Public Works Director Sam Kim is here to provide the report.
Madam Mayor and members of City Council, tonight the City Council is being asked to hold a public hearing and adopt resolutions approving the city's 2025 Urban Water Management Plan and 2025 Water Shortage Contingency Plan as required by the California Department of Water Resources. State law requires urban water suppliers with more than 3,000 customers or supplying more than 3,000 acre-feet of water annually to update and adopt an urban water management plan and water shortage contingency plan every 5 years. Last October, the City Council approved an agreement with the Municipal Water District of Orange County and Corolo Engineers to assist with the preparation of these documents. The Urban Water Management Plan evaluates the city's long-term water supply reliability, projected water supply and demands, water use efficiency programs, strategies for managing future water resource needs, and strategies for addressing water shortage conditions. The water shortage contingency plan establishes a framework for responding to water shortages through 6 defined shortage levels, response actions, communication protocols, and monitoring procedures to help maintain water supply reliability and minimize supply interruptions. Notices were distributed to surrounding agencies, and both plans were made available for public review on the city's website. The water shortage contingency plan must be adopted before the urban water management plan to comply with the requirements from the Department of Water Resources. There is no environmental or financial impact associated with this action. Staff recommends that the City Council hold a public hearing, adopt a resolution approving the 2025 water shortage contingency plan, and then adopt the resolution approving the 2025 urban water management plan. This concludes the staff's report, and staff is here to answer any questions.
Thank you very much for the report. Any questions of staff before I open the public hearing? All right, at this time, I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing. Is there anyone wishing to speak? Nick, you're up. Make sure it's on this item, okay? Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Mayor Klopfenstein, members of the council, I'm Nicholas Dibbs. I'd like to have 3 minutes. Usually the hearing time is 3 minutes.
We're just going to keep it with 2. It's
Well, that's not
almost
enough time
11.
because you got 2 items here. One is the water shortage contingency plan. I have some important suggestions. One is you need to have in the inserts, the billing inserts for the water bills, as well as on the website of the city, the importance of people stocking up on water so that they have enough water if we do have an earthquake or something happens and a water main goes down. We just finished a crisis in the city, and I think the lesson learned is to be prepared, as the Boy Scouts say. I used to be a Boy Scout. Be prepared. So we need to have more education or community outreach to inform the citizens to be sure to have at least 3 gallons per person per day stored somewhere on your property in case the water lines go down. Second thing on water conservation, have a button for reporting water use or people noticing that there's a lot of water being wasted. Don't have it buried on the Public Works part of the website, but also, or have a link at the homepage of the city so that people can easily report this stuff. And it's important that we do more, I think, on our outreach to the community to let them know to have water stored. You know, when you don't have it is when you really notice it. Mark Twain used to say, or did say, whiskey is for drinking, but water is for fighting. Well, people will fight over water if there's not enough of it. So we need to do everything we can to conserve water, but also it bothers me that businesses and residents sometimes run their sprinklers and there's extra water going down the gutter. And so we need an effective way, a better outreach on that so people can report those abuses. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak? All right, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Colleagues?
Sam, I would just like to thank you and your staff for writing such thorough reports. They can be found on our city website for those who want to see a final draft, ggcity.org/. /PW, that's for Public Works, /water-conservation. These are very thorough, very well done documents. I did very much enjoy reading through them. You know me, I love water. And I think these are very informative for all of our residents who are curious about where we source our water and how we go through all of our planning and how we intersect as a city with other agencies like MET and MODOC and all that. So thank you, Sam.
Thank you.
Is that a motion?
That's a motion.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Call for the vote.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
All right, that concludes our public hearing items. We move into items for consideration. Item 24.
Item 24 is adoption of resolutions amending fiscal year 2026-27 budget, and Finance Director Patricia Song is here to provide the report.
Madam Clerk, could you pull up the slides on the screen? Thank you. All right, so good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of City Council. I'm pleased to present the fiscal year 26-27 amended budget to you. 1 year into our biennial budget cycle, this mid-year review provides an opportunity to assess our financial performance, update our outlook for next year, and ensure we remain on track to achieve the City Council goals and long-term financial priorities. I am happy to report that the proposed amended budget remains balanced and continues to reflect the strong partnership among the City Council, City Management, and all of our department heads. The proposed amended budget continues to adhere to City Council's fundamental budgeting principle, maintaining the city's long-term financial health and sustainability. Tonight, I will begin with a brief overview of the Orange County economic outlook and discuss how economic conditions are influencing the city's general fund. I will then review the proposed amendments to the fiscal year 27 budget and conclude by highlighting several initiatives included in this mid-cycle review that are helping prepare us for the next biennial budget. With that, let me begin with the regional economy. According to the April 2026 UCLA Anderson forecast, Orange County's economy is expected to continue to grow over the next several years, although at a much slower pace than experienced during the post-pandemic recovery period. Key sectors driving economic activity include technology, artificial intelligence, healthcare, tourism, and new development projects throughout the region. While unemployment has remained relatively low at approximately 4%, job growth has slowed since 2024. The forecast noted increased layoffs in certain sectors, particularly retail and technology, as businesses continue adapting to changing consumer behavior, automation, and advancements in artificial intelligence. The tourism sector remains stable and is expected to experience modest growth through 27-28. Several major development projects are expected to provide positive economic benefits throughout the county, including OC Vibe, Disneyland Forward, and Tustin Legacy. For local governments, the forecast suggests the continued growth in economically sensitive revenues such as property tax, sales tax, and hotel tax. However, growth rates are expected to be much slower than those experienced in recent years. Economists continue to identify inflation, global uncertainty, and housing affordability as challenges that could impact future growth. Overall, the outlook for Orange County remains positive, with steady economic expansion expected over the near term. And what does that mean for our budget? This slide presents the city's 5-year general fund forecast. The general fund is primarily the primary operating fund and supports most of the city services to our residents and businesses. While the proposed fiscal year 27 budget remains balanced, our long-range forecast indicates a temporary operating deficit over the following 3 fiscal years. These projected deficits are primarily driven by expenditure growth outpacing revenue growth. On the expenditure side, we anticipate continued inflationary pressures affecting commodities, contractual services, and maintenance costs. We are also planning significant capital investments in streets rehabilitation, facility improvements, park infrastructure, maintenance of new public safety facility, as well as growing personnel costs and pension obligations. On the revenue side, We are projecting modest growth consistent with the Anderson forecast. Our assumptions include annual growth of 3% in property tax and hotel tax revenues, 2.5% in sales tax revenues, and 2% in program revenues. Based on these assumptions, we project general fund operating deficits of approximately $5 million in fiscal year 28, $3 million in 29, and $2 million in 2030. Fortunately, our general fund currently have sufficient reserves to absorb these temporary shortfalls. Nevertheless, these projections reinforce the importance of disciplined financial planning and thoughtful expenditure decisions to ensure long-term sustainability. Turning now to the proposed fiscal year 27 amended general fund budget. This slide is only on the general fund. The proposed budget increased general fund appropriations by approximately $3.4 million from the originally adopted amount. The two primary drivers of this increase are the implementation of a citywide cost allocation plan totaling $1.9 million, and departmental supplemental budget requests aggregates about $1.6 million. I will discuss both of these items in greater detail later in the presentation. As shown in the green shaded table in the middle of the slide, the increased appropriations are supported by several offsetting revenue sources. The cost allocation plan generates about $1.5 million in reimbursements from the other operating funds. The police department anticipates a little over $1 million in additional parking citation revenues. And in addition, the city's investment portfolio continues to benefit from a favorable interest rate environment, resulting in an estimated $700,000 increase in investment earnings. Combined with previously approved one-time funding source, included in the adopted budget, these resources allow us to maintain a balanced fiscal year 27 general fund budget. With that overview, I will now discuss the major budget amendments proposed for fiscal year 2027. A total of 23 supplemental funding requests are included in the proposed amended budget. These requests address critical infrastructure needs, enhance public services, and advance several council priorities. Some of the more significant investments include a $4 million investment in street pavement projects, primarily funded through gas tax and CDBG funding, $3.5 million in additional capital improvement for the water utility system, $2.5 million for the first-time homebuyer assistance program funded through the CalHome and permanent local housing allocation grants, $900,000 for streets and transit-related improvements within the Garden Grove Tourism Improvement District, $800,000 for city facility improvements, including enhancements to the council chamber and a condition assessment of the municipal service center, $658,000 for the operation and maintenance of the new public safety facility, and $340,000 to extend the park security pilot program. In total, the supplemental funding requests add about $15 million to the amended budget. These investments support both new and ongoing initiatives and align closely with City Council priorities. So the question is, where does this funding come from? All right. The majority of the supplemental funding is supported by grants, restricted revenues, and enterprise funds rather than the general fund. For example, nearly $3 million of the street rehabilitation funding is supported by gas tax revenues. The California Department of Housing and Community Development awarded the city approximately $2.5 million in grant funding to support housing programs. All newly added water utility capital projects are funded through the Water Utility Fund. In addition, several transportation and tourism-related improvements are supported through dedicated special revenue sources. The general fund contributes, again, about $1.6 million and is primarily allocated toward the maintenance of the new public safety facility, the continuation of park security program, and several citywide operational enhancements. By leveraging grant funding and other dedicated revenue sources whenever possible, the city continues to maximize service delivery while preserving general fund resources for the core municipal services. In addition to the supplemental funding request, staff is recommending several other budget amendments for fiscal year 27. These adjustments are primarily driven by operational and business process changes, as well as evolving fiscal conditions. One significant change is the implementation of a citywide cost allocation plan, which more accurately distributes administrative and support service costs among city funds. We are also proposing adjustments to address mandated cost increases, including additional contributions towards the city's unfunded pension liability, and a reduction in administrative cost recovery revenues from the Redevelopment Property Tax Trust Fund. In addition, the proposed amended budget includes a $1.2 million reduction in both grant revenues and corresponding expenditures related to the Organized Retail Theft Prevention Program. This adjustment reflects updated funding allocations recently confirmed by the state and ensures that the budget accurately aligns with available grant resources. Staff has also completed a comprehensive review of the capital improvement program and is recommending several project adjustments based on funding availability, project readiness, grant requirements, and operational priorities. These changes help ensure that resources are focused on projects that can be successfully delivered within the planned timeframe. When combined with the $14.7 million in supplemental funding requests discussed earlier, the total proposed amendments result in a net increase of $13.9 million over the originally adopted fiscal year 2027 budget. As a result, the proposed fiscal year 26-27 amended budget totals $413 million across all funds, including the Housing Authority, Successor Agency, and Sanitary District we just discussed earlier tonight. Despite these adjustments, the amended budget remains balanced and continues to reflect the city's commitment to long-term financial sustainability, strategic investment, and responsible stewardship of public resources. Finally, I would like to highlight several initiatives the budget team has been working on to strengthen the city's financial management practices and further align our budget process with industry best practices. Last year, we successfully implemented the position budgeting, which significantly improved the accuracy of labor cost allocation and personnel budgeting. Building on top of that foundation, we took the next step during this mid-cycle budget process by implementing a citywide cost allocation plan. The cost allocation plan enables the city to more accurately distribute administrative and support service costs to funds and programs that benefit from those services. This includes recovering eligible overhead from grant-funded programs, such as Housing Authority Section 8 voucher program and other federal and state grants that allow overhead reimbursements. Equally important, the plan promotes greater transparency and accountability by ensuring that administrative costs are budgeted centrally in the general fund. Another area of focus has been our capital improvement program. The fiscal year 26 and 27 biannual budget marked the first time in the city's history that our capital improvement program budget met the Government Finance Officer Association's recommended best practice for budget presentation. We are continuing to build upon that achievement by enhancing project-level tracking within our ERP system and establishing citywide standards for budgeting and managing capital projects. These improvements provide better project oversight, strengthen financial reporting, and help ensure that capital resources are aligned with the city's long-term infrastructure priorities. Our goal is to continuously improve both the budget process and the budget document so that it serves not only as a legal spending plan, but also as a strategic financial management tool that supports informed decision-making, operational accountability, and long-term fiscal sustainability. I would like to thank the City Council, the Budget Committee, and all department heads for their partnership throughout this process, and this concludes my report. I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Director Song. This presentation truly shows your expertise, both you and your team. It's very impressive and important. Thank you very much. Colleagues, comments, questions?
I'll echo your statements right now, Mayor. Patricia, thank you so much for presenting such a robust budget presentation. I want to make sure I commend you and your team because our ability to obtain grant funding at this point in time, I want the public to understand that grant funding requests are very competitive, and you and your team put a lot of hard work to make sure that all of these requests have all the T's crossed and all the I's dotted. So I want to make sure to commend you guys, because in this environment, you guys are really going above and beyond to make sure that we're getting funding. And we literally would not be able to accomplish so many of the things that we are able to accomplish at this time without your tenacity and that of your team. So thank you.
Thank you. Very well said. You know, there's so many times I hear other cities talk about how they have to go outside or seek resources and help in other places, and yet our city staff is able to lift and do so much in-house. It's quite impressive. Yes, we'll go down the line.
I'm exactly what you're saying here, and you know, to stay balanced is nice. You know, I think that's what the community really cares about. We look at our neighboring cities; they're all circling the drain financially, and while we're not rolling in money, at least we're in the black. We're not hemorrhaging. So that's thanks to you and your team, Patricia. We really, like I said, it's kind of the unsung heroes. You're in the back. You know, you don't get a lot of the glory. You're in the rear with the gear, so to speak, right? So, but it much appreciated to you and your whole team, and the city really is thankful to have you folks as part of our staff. So
thank you.
Very similar feedback. We appreciate you. Everywhere I go, when I talk to people, always say, you know, you're very conservative, and so we're happy to have you, and thank you for the hard work from the team put in. You know, the award, you know, say for itself, right? Great job that you guys do. I have one quick question. So one of the chart that you saw with, you know, the shortfall for 5 million, etc. I know that you talk about the reserve and everything. My question to you that, how confident are you that there will be no negative impact to our city as a whole?
Great question. So we have, as you mentioned, that we have always been very conservative in forecasting the future spending. So we're using what we know, and we are maintaining the service levels, and that is why we have a temporary budget deficit. That's because we're not reducing the cost. What's being committed is going to be going continuously, so that we can achieve what's being intended in the long term. And what needs to be watched is the reserves level that we have, is the fund balance, is the existing resource could weather us through the storms and any predictable or manageable challenges that we are facing.
Yeah, so in the future, there will be time that we make decisions that will be impact to the budget. So when that comes, please make sure that you remind us to watch that. So thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Director Song. A very complete report tonight. I am a little bit concerned about our budget, as I have been in the last couple of years. Our surplus, if any, is really shrinking. We haven't gone into the red yet, but we don't want to be like other cities having to raise sales tax to cover additional expenses. We did vote up a few $100,000 in amended or supplemental expenditures, so that's very concerning. I know that we've had a couple of crises in our city. Most impactful was GKN recently. There may be financial fallout to our city. So I want you to track that. I know we've already mentioned it and you're already on top of it, but cost in terms of staff time, of having allocate more resources to deal with the crisis as it's developed in real time, of which we haven't been reimbursed. We have damages. We have economic and financial impact from the chemical tank crisis. And at some point, we have to be reimbursed as a city for those costs. So we have to keep track of all that. And also, there are added needs, added demands for services. For example, the SB 54 with the IT upgrade and resources we need to provide to our community and residents so they can Zoom in or call in during the meetings. So that's another added expense. How are we going to budget for that? We had not anticipated that 2 years ago. It's coming down, and there are going to be numbers associated with providing that service. It's mandated by the state, and it starts as early as our meetings in July. And the third is, as you know, we are going past 11 o'clock tonight, and we may be doubling our meeting times due to a lot of public comments, which is welcomed, but it also means that our staff and our whole council needs to stay here much, much longer. I did talk to our city manager about visiting the compensation for the council members. I'll bring it up in matters, but I want to alert you and the rest of the council that we didn't sign on to this job like it's a full-time job, but we end up working practically full-time. And out of concern for other council members who have young children, they need to be home. They need to provide babysitting services or childcare while they're extending their meetings, maybe even past midnight, like tonight, or in future meetings. So out of a concern for my colleagues as well as myself, I just welcomed a new grandson. And so our time are very, very taxed in terms of having to be able to attend all the meetings, and we've had to attend a lot more meetings than normal. So maybe this is the new normal, where we have to have multiple meetings in a month, and our meeting times are doubling and doubling again. So we have to find the budget to provide staff time. Staff have to be here. Look, they probably started this morning at 7 o'clock, and they're still here. So all this has to be worked into the budget, and I don't know how you can keep track of all that. I think you have to create a system. And the damages and liability that has been caused by a responsible party, we need to be able to demand a reimbursement. That's part of the accountability that we've called for, not just GKN, but any actors in our city that has caused expenses beyond what has been anticipated, expected, and budgeted for. We need to keep track so that we get reimbursed and compensated, because that's our residents' taxpayer dollars, and those dollars belong to our residents. It doesn't belong to us, and it doesn't belong to some bad actors who caused the damages. That's all I have to say for now.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other comments or questions, a motion?
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the budget. Call for the vote, please.
Dovin, are you having technical issues?
There we go.
I want to add one more note before I vote, because I haven't had an answer from Patricia, but I do want a report back sooner than a half a year, or wait for the next retreat. So hopefully we'll get more reports from you, and if we have to go into closed session or emergency session on our budget, we will do that.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
All right, that takes us on to item 25.
Item 25 is introduction and first reading of an ordinance to adopt the paramedic override rate for fiscal year 2026-2027. And Finance Director Patricia Song is here to provide that report.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Good evening, Mayor, members of City Council again. This item before you is an ordinance establishing the annual paramedic tax override rate for the next fiscal year. This voter-approved property tax override was originally authorized in 1974 to help fund emergency medical and paramedic services for the Garden Grove community. The measure established a maximum tax rate of 10 cents per $100 of assessed valuation. For fiscal year 26-27, staff is recommending that the city maintain the current rate of 8 cents per $100 of assessed value, which has remained unchanged since 2017. The paramedic tax override continues to serve as an important funding source for emergency medical services provided to our residents. The revenue generated support the city's contractual obligation with the Orange County Fire Authority, which currently provides paramedic services throughout the city. Based on the statistics provided by OCFA, more than 90% of the calls responded to by OCFA in Garden Grove during the past year were medical related. This shows how important the community is relying on emergency medical response and paramedic care. For the upcoming fiscal year, the paramedic tax is expected to generate about $16.7 million. These revenues will help fund a portion of the city's current $29 million annual payment to OCFA. State law requires the City Council to establish the tax override rate annually through the adoption of an ordinance. Therefore, staff is requesting that the City Council introduce and conduct the first reading of this ordinance. And this concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much
Mayor,
for the report.
If, for the record, I can enter the title of this ordinance.
Of course.
This is an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Garden Grove establishing the amount of money for paramedic services that must be raised by an ad valorem tax override and the setting of the tax rate of said override. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Comments, questions?
Move it.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Call for the vote, please.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
All right, on to 26.
Item 26 is an award of contract to RJ Noble Company for the 2026 various streets rehabilitation projects, city project number CP 1502000, and Public Works Director Sam Kim is here to provide the report.
Madam Mayor and members of City Council, tonight City Council is being asked to award the contract to RJ Noble Company for the 2026 various streets rehabilitation project number CP 1502000. This project includes rehabilitation improvements along multiple street segments throughout the city, totaling about 6.2 miles of street segments. A list of the street is provided in the report. Each street will be addressed with different rehab measures to properly manage the unique circumstances and will involve some or most of the following elements: removing and replacing trees, removing and reconstructing failed pavement areas, coal milling, asphalt rubber aggregate membrane, full depth reclamation with a cement treated base, asphalt paving, slurry seal and microsurfacing, replacement of a concrete curb and gutters, cross gutter, local depression, driveway, sidewalk, and curb ramps, adjustment of a utility covers to finish grade, repairing catch basin and parkway drain tops, restoration of traffic striping, signing, pavement marking and markers, and reestablishment of center line ties and monuments. 6 bids were received and opened by the City Clerk's office on May 7, 2026. The lowest responsive bidder is RJ Noble Company with a total bid of just over $6.8 million. This bid amount is within the current project budget. Should the City Council approve the contract today, the construction can begin in June 2026 and be completed by November 2026. This project is included in the fiscal year 2026-27 adopted capital improvement plan budget and is funded with a gas tax, drainage fees, and Measure M2. This concludes the staff's report, and staff is here to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Sure.
As they're doing the projects, doing the curbs, the thing that keeps coming up repeatedly, the ADA ramps as we go around, for the wheelchair accessible folks, those are going to be cut into the curb as well?
If we're doing any work around that area, it will be to the conformance with the ADA.
So that, do you know approximately how many they'll be doing, or?
I don't have that number top of my head, sir.
Can you get that for me at some point?
Yes,
And
yes, sir. We'll
I'd
find out for you.
appreciate to kind of get an estimate, because I know there's a lot of curbs in Garden Grove, and as we get to doing maintenance around them, we want to make sure that we start hitting those, because we do have a lot of folks in wheelchairs and whatnot, and elderly folks and what, so it'd be nice to be able to articulate what kind of progress we're making towards that end. So.
Sure, yeah, we're touching it, and we'll make it a compliance.
Thank you. And I'll move it.
We have a motion.
Just a quick question and comment for Director Kim. So RJ Noble, they're already under contract with us for other services, correct?
Yes, sir. So they worked on some of our previous construction projects.
And they're known to be dependable, and in this case, they're also the lowest responsible bidder, correct?
Yes, sir.
And they're not known to come back to us, circle back for amended or revised supplemental expenditures. They haven't done that to us in the past, right?
No, sir. Yeah, we haven't had that experience with them.
So we have some confidence that they will provide for up to the amount we're going to allocate and authorize tonight?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Just really excited to see that so many of these segments are going to be through some very frequently traveled parts of District 6. I think we've been needing some help on Trask, and then on New Hope, where we do get a lot of wear and tear. That's one of the arteries that goes into our public works yard, and I know we have some pretty heavy vehicles that go up and down that street, and I think our residents are going to feel pretty good about seeing some improvements there, and also some improvements in our Buena Clinton neighborhood streets. So thank you so much, Sam.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, I believe we have a motion.
Second.
Couple of seconds. Call for the vote, please.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
All right, item 27, we heard this item and had a staff report during our sanitary district. So can we waive another reading of that staff report and vote on the item if everyone's comfortable with that?
I'll move.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Call for the vote, please.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
Okay, and that takes us into matters, item 28.
Item 28 is discussion on naming the Eastgate Park building in honor of Pastor Eric Williams, as requested by Mayor Kloppenstein.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. As many of you know, Pastor Williams was tragically taken from his family, friends, and his congregation far too soon. The Eastgate Park building holds a great deal of meaning. Not only was it his church, but it was also a teen center where he was a valued mentor to the youth in the community. I believe naming the building after him cements his legacy as a community leader, and obviously I know would be so appreciated by his family and all of his loved ones. Obviously, what a plaque or what type of moniker, what that looks like, I think that is ongoing, but I would appreciate your support very much to solidify just naming this building after Pastor Eric Williams and all that he's done and meant to so many in the community, especially in the West Garden Grove community.
that Pastor Williams was a very, very well-respected person in District 1. I can't go on about the kids that he mentored over there, the teenagers and whatnot. And when we were at his, celebration of life, just the amount of support from the community that was there. So be honored to give you the second.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to bring it forward and to support the family and his legacy. I guess let's just call for a vote then.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
Thank you, colleagues. With that, we will go around the horn. We'll start in District 6 this evening.
Let's commit to getting out of here before midnight, guys. I'm going to keep this as brief as possible. I hope you all try your best to do the same as well. I'm going to start off with some upcoming events. The most pressing upcoming event that we have here in District 6, we have our Thomas House Walkathon in honor of the 40th anniversary of our Thomas House shelter. I will be there. I'll be giving some remarks. I know the mayor will be there as well. And I want to encourage folks that if you have not signed up to join us at this wonderful tradition, I want to encourage you guys to visit thomashouseshelter.org and sign up to be a part of one of the walking teams. I'm going to be walking with one of my favorite community member groups and one of our Garden Grove District 6 staples, the wonderful team over at Sabroso. They created a team, the Sabroso Striders. All the members of the Sabroso Striders team will have some pan dulce and some cafecito for doing the walkathon. So if you want to join me and the good folks at the Sabroso family, make sure to go to thomashouseshelter.org. There's a $25 registration fee to join us and be a part of the walkathon. Thomas House helps so many families in Garden Grove, in the Central Orange County region as a whole, being able to gain independence, to find permanent housing, to be able to make a living, and their work is really invaluable to our community. And celebrating 40 years, may the 40th be with you is the theme. So I hope that I will see you guys there. I want to also touch upon some of the things that we discussed earlier today with the having a representative from GKN here. I think it's going to be really important for us in the conversation about accountability and about transparency. I think it's going to be really important for our community to also know some of the implications of what us having had all of these emergency declarations means for us as a city. I want us to have an understanding of, are we going to be getting any federal government reimbursements as a city for anything? Are our residents going to get any reimbursements for anything? And what does that mean at the state level? What does that mean at the county level? I would like to see some reporting with regards to what that looks like for us. As some of my colleagues mentioned earlier in their own comments, we also incurred losses. Our teams were working really around the clock. Our first responders, but also our city staff, they were working really, really long hours. All of that is resources from the city. A lot of our guys at the Public Works Yard out there helping us set up all those evacuation zones and all those, the perimeters and all that. They put in a lot of hard work out there. I want to make sure that our city also sees reimbursement for all of the additional expenses that it cost us, because we still don't know how much this entire situation is going to cost us down the road. So I want to hopefully see some numbers or some, at least an idea of what types of line items we can expect to see reimbursement for from our different levels of government as a result of all of these emergency declarations. We also had a vote today with regards to the Nickelodeon development going forward. I want to reiterate what I mentioned earlier. I expect to see conversations happening in good faith from between our developer, all the parties involved, to make sure that we're seeing real benefits for our community and for the people that are going to be working in building this building and working in this building, so that our residents and the people that come visit our city are really getting the best experience down the road. So that's going to be it for me. I'm going to pass it on down the horn.
I'd like to start, like to wish all the fathers in our community a very happy Father's Day. Thank you for all the many ways you support and strengthen our families in our city. Due to the hectic past weeks, I forgot to very special shout out, and I wanted to congratulate class of 2026, especially the graduates of our local Garden Grove high schools. This is a tremendous achievement, and we are proud of all of you for what you have accomplished. Best wishes to all as you begin your next chapter. And finally, as excitement continues to build for the FIFA World Cup, I look forward to the excitement that will be lit up in our local restaurants and eateries. As fans of the game know that the World Cup does not come around often. I know that many residents are looking forward to being part of the excitement and celebrating this global event. So thank you all and have a good evening.
Thank you, Mayor, and my distinguished colleagues. I missed the last meeting because I was out celebrating my grandson's arrival. His name is Ace Reeves. I want to shout out to my daughter, Anna Michelle. The grandson is the firstborn of my firstborn, so very proud of him, and my daughter as well as her husband. I want to send them the best of our wishes, and thank you everyone for affording me a missed meeting, and I came late tonight, but I think we got a lot of work done tonight. I am concerned about our budget, just like George. I mean, it leaves a bad taste when you have to have uncollectibles that basically comes at the expense of our taxpayers. I'd like to be able to track that kind of uncollectibles, and from year to year, it should be reduced and diminished to zero. Now, if you're going to have a traffic accident, especially a DUI, in our city, you are going to reimburse our taxpayers. We will subrogate, and we will extend not 1 or 2 years, but as long as it takes to collect those outstanding debt. So don't come into Garden Grove and have a DUI. Don't come in here, be a bad driver, have accidents, and make our taxpayers or residents pay for your mistakes. That's just not fair to everybody. So I'm going to be watching very carefully every dime, as we have been, to make sure that that kind of a loss is not borne by our taxpayers. We're already going through a lot, and I want to share with all the residents who are hurting, not just the 50,000 people who had to evacuate and was suffering for more than a couple of weeks when all of this went up. But I have to thank our first responders and the Unified Command and everyone who pulled together and it got us out of this without further incident. It could have been really bad. So we barely got out of this with the minimum damage, but that means GKN and anybody else responsible need to step it up. They have to be held accountable, and there was some good movement in that direction already. I think their representative came tonight, and that's at our demand. We put in a letter, and we are ground zero. The other cities are watching us. I thank my colleague. I'm very proud of being counted among you. We've come together as a council. Our message has been consistent, coherent. We've been here for our community. We've worked overtime just like our staff. And I want to agendize a review of our compensation. It's almost insulting what we're collecting for the time we're putting in. This is a volunteer job, it is. But in order for us to dedicate that much time, almost full time, and this is the new normal. So let's revisit that. Lastly, I appreciate Mayor Kloppenstein for recognizing one of our most celebrated pastors, Eric Williams, who passed tragically in an accident at a very young age. I was his age 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and he's full of life. He could have survived into his 80s had it not been for that tragic accident. So to honor him with the naming of a building that the name Eastgate Park, how could that hold a light to celebrating a community leader who gave his all for his fellow citizens. So I am very happy that we're able to vote on that. It's my honor and privilege, along with the rest of the council, to do that. So I want to end on a note, and I often tease our assistant or deputy city manager, Matt West, for his invocation. So I'm going to steal his thunder a little bit tonight and put in an invocation of my own for all the people who's hurting out there, and for my newborn son, grandson. Our Father, the one and only true God, to whom we commit our souls and from whom all blessings flow. Bless us now in our hour of need. Give us strength and goodness, will and wisdom, that we may overcome weakness and wickedness. For we are the children of God, made in your image, for your glory and for our sake. Amen. And happy Father's Day to all the fathers. We'll be celebrating much, much more after we overcome all of the troubles we've been in lately. Thank you, Council. Thank you, Mayor.
So last week I have a great ride along with Public Works. I want to take the opportunity to say thanks to Director Sam Kim, Supervisor Raul, and all the Public Work employees for the support and for giving me a great experience. The first one, I got to stop at Reading and Broadcast, where our Public Work transform a street with all the crack, and the street was really bad, and become a very smooth surface for people to try, plus addressing some of the homeless issue. And then the second stop was where our Public Work were doing, the pothole. That kind of remind us for the resident, if you see any pothole or you see the sign that need to be fixed, you could use our app, Get and Go app. In that app, there's so many options. You could report graffiti, coyote, so many things. So just a reminder for residents that you would be able to report that, and so that our Public Work would be able to take care. And the last stop was at the Harbor and Garden Grove, where our employees were putting the stoppage and listening to the thing that they're sharing, and got to participate or observe why why we have a lunch. It feels so great that we have great staff. The atmosphere was like a family, and then hearing the story from the supervisor Raul. He started a part-time employees and became a supervisor. It's just amazing to hear that story, making people dream come true, and make you feel like great to be a council member for Garden Grove City. So thank you so much to the team, and I cannot wait to come back again just to learn more about all the things that you guys do. Second thing, I just want to say thank to the people that came here, talk about the GKN and the speaker, etc. One thing that I want to ask our staff, actually I mentioned it to staff before, that we're going to do something to recognize the people that are businesses and volunteer who support during that couple of days. Many businesses that donate food, but also volunteer that went with me 2 a.m. for a couple of days just to bring food to the volunteer and to our staff. And then, so this morning, Mayor, that we have, so the Orange County Supervisor will go into the budgets, and there were 3.7 million that original was allocated to District 1 for Supervisor Janet, and we are in that group under District 1. And so I just want to say thank to Mayor and our staff. Lisa and Matt came to speak during that during the mayor's speech. She mentioned, or she was asking to get 500,000 to be dedicated to the GKN resident who got impact from that incident or crisis. And last but not least, Well, because it's so late and I just want to be quick. So we're going to have a free food distribution tomorrow at Hope Nonprofits right at the corner of Acacia and Main Street. I just want to say thank to the mayor and all my council members here. Each one of us actually contribute our own money. So that way we could do a little thing for our residents or the people that got impacted. So everyone is welcome. You don't have to provide any kind of document. Just come, and the direction is that you're gonna come from Euclid on Acacia and park in Coastline College there and walk over to pick up the food. The mayor and many of the council members will be there to greet you. So come and join us. That's it for me. Thank you.
Yes, as tonight, I see a lot of residents come here to express your concern and demand about the KGN. And as we request, the AGN representative are here today to provide us with their company operation procedure. It might not exactly the answer that we are looking for, but we, as council, will continue follow up with the concern and the demand that you are asking for. We will, and we ask for your patience and time. You know, in the 5 days of the evacuation, I went around the city. I saw first responder, I saw OCFA, I saw police department, I saw our management, Garden Grove management and staff working relentlessly to help the people evacuate secure and safe. I want to thank you for that. And my compliment is also for the resident, that they will cooperate with our first responder with such a, I like to say, calm and collective. More than that, I also saw a lot of good heart residents. They actually opened their home to provide utility need for the needs. So for this incident, I would say incident averted and neutralized, love, humanity found. For today, the one issue that I see there's a lot of controversy. Like, I see the United here, Local 11, opposed versus with Western Capital support. And as we know, as City Council, we look into to do employment development. We want to do city financial strengthens. And that's part of the reason I hope the opposed resident understand we do this for the best interest for not just the city, but for all of us. Thank you.
Well, we're going into our 7th hour of this meeting. You know, the meeting earlier with the GKN folks, I mean, it was great that he'd show up, but honestly, I was not happy with any of the answers. And I don't know if I expected to get better answers. I probably should have known better. You know, the legalese all come in and they gotta walk their tight ropes and everything, but I was not happy with any of the responses given. You know, patience is a virtue, and for us, it's hard because you got a community demanding action now. They want something done now. We, as a dais, actually have very limited. You know, we're a general law city. We're not a charter city. We're very limited in what we can actually do. That doesn't mean we're powerless. But, you know, we have to be careful. We got to do things legitimately, correctly. And we have to think of our community as a whole when we're making these decisions, because, you know, we do something knee jerk, trying to be just to make everyone feel good. We're going to, you know, we might open the door for the city to get sued and bankrupt the city. You know, so you got to balance that. We're waiting for all these investigations and reports and histories to be compiled so we can make reasonable, grounded decisions and not knee-jerk decisions that make people feel good but might not have any real teeth behind them. And again, we're limited in what we can do. You know, people were in here complaining about a permit that was given. It wasn't a permit for a chemical tank. It was a break room for their employees, right? You know, we're limited into basically the building kind of stuff. Building permits is what we're talking about, right? With that being said, we need to explore what can be done. You know, we're talking about accountability, and I think every one of us want to see a true accountability happen. And quite frankly, GKN's response to our businesses, our community, and our city. As a city, we're out too. The way they deal with that is going to dictate, you know, if they're being a good neighbor or not. And, you know, it's going to influence our decisions one way or the other. And they need to know that. If they don't step up and move fast and take care of business, you know, what limited authority we do have, we're going to use it. And quite frankly, we need to start reaching out to the state agencies and putting our weight behind getting them to hold GKN accountable. You know, these agencies that regulate those tanks. You know, land rights and land usage, and, you know, Omar can talk to you all day about, you know, the laws with that. There's very limited what we can do. And I think we understand that. But that, again, we are not totally powerless. So we want to make sure they're held accountable. But, you know, is the Garden Grove City Council the agency or the body to do that? Probably not. Probably not. Realistically, it's probably not going to happen from us. We have very limited powers as a general law city. But that doesn't mean we can't lobby and make sure the state holds them accountable or the county holds them accountable. So anyway, thank you for bearing with me. I know, like I said, we're going into hour 7 on this, and I know staff is ready to get out of here. So I'll keep it quiet and end it there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Tonight was a long meeting, but obviously an important one. We covered a lot of ground, but I want to thank my colleagues and all the staff that was here in the Garden Grove Police Department. Thank you for shouldering all this with us and for all the hard work and due diligence and keeping us all safe. We really appreciate it. We have an incredible team. So thank everyone so much. I will be closing the meeting in memory this evening, but first I'll ask if there's anything from our city manager and our city attorney.
Madam Mayor, members of the council, I have full notes of all the follow-up items that we are tasked with, and I will touch base with each of you respectfully on some follow-up items. But thank you again for always supporting. I know the special meetings that we've added the last couple weeks was intended to provide additional information and clarity to the community, but also provide information to the collective council. I do appreciate your patience when we do add those meetings, and we'll try to contain them to our regularly scheduled meeting as more information comes to light. So thank you again.
Thank you, City Manager.
I need less than 3 minutes. We did have a closed session earlier. We don't have any reportable action. Thank you.
Thank you, City Attorney. So before we adjourn this evening, I will adjourn the meeting in memory of Peggy Frances Broadwater, who passed away on May 30th. Peggy was the beloved wife of former Garden Grove Mayor Bruce Broadwater. She shared more than 54 wonderful years of marriage with Bruce and was a devoted and loving mother to their two sons, Josh and Jeremy. Peggy's greatest joy was her family, especially her grandchildren, who brought immeasurable happiness to her life. She lived a life grounded in faith, love, and selfless service to her family, friends, and community. Her gentle spirit, compassionate heart, and Christ-like example touched the lives of all who had the privilege of knowing her. Peggy is survived by her husband Bruce, her sons Josh and Jeremy, her 4 grandchildren, and 5 siblings. On behalf of the Garden Grove City Council, we extend our deepest sympathies and heartfelt condolences to Peggy's family and loved ones during this difficult time. And with that, we stand adjourned.